think everyone's heard this one. Why did the Scarecrow win the award?
I feel like we've done this one before. Why?
He was the most stand-up in his field. That's good. I like it.
That's good. I like that one. Okay. Oh, some people in the chat. Okay, so welcome everybody back to the show. You know cucumbers. You know they're like really good for your memory.
You shoved them up your ass?
Oh, I don't ruin my joke.
Is that the joke?
So
it wasn't a good joke, Tom.
I actually believe my buddy at work when he's like, yeah, cucumbers are like really good for your memory. And I was like, really? I haven't heard that. And he's like,
I remember every time.
Well, my uncle shoved a cucumber up my ass and I've never forgot. I was like, that's funny. Billy always seems to know the jokes. He tries to guess his best. So welcome back everybody to the show. You know what it is.
Hey, Jose.
Hey, Jose.
Host Hedge.
Jose.
Jose. Like our fucking fans. And there's been more and more people shout me out, telling us how much they love the show, how they're laughing their asses off at work and stuff like that.
Why? Why?
Because we're hilarious.
That's a benchmark got put low.
So give us 5-star rating reviews. But yes, we appreciate all the host heads out there. So welcome back to the show. As we're getting into the Halloween season.
What are we doing for Halloween?
You'll see. I'm going to tell you, we're going to do a special, but you have to get the costume I told you to, or you're going to ruin it. You have to.
Fine.
Especially after Brett calling you that shit at the whole time.
That's fair. Yeah.
At the bachelor party. So everybody get ready because there will be a Halloween special. I'm going to see if we're going to be doing a Halloween live, even if it's just, an hour or two and you guys can tune in and chat with us and all that stuff. So we got stuff working in the works.
Cool.
But obviously, check out last year's Halloween
I'm excited
special.
as you are. I have no idea.
Yes. Check out last year's Halloween special. And then obviously the one before that, even with Alex, was a ton of fun. So every year
that was
we do
fun.
this.
I missed that one.
So
that was the night I found the cigarette in my fucking beer can.
Yeah. I know what's funny. I think it was me. After all this time, I was going to repost the video and I was going to be like, I think it was me. Really looks so bad.
It wasn't smoke though.
It
was a cigarette, but that was not smoked.
I remember putting.
Why would you just rip off a cigarette unless you were doing poppers or something?
No, I wasn't. I remember just putting it in a can, and then I was like, when you were saying that, I was like, did I do that? But it was on the ground, so I don't think it was yours. But I'd be like, did he put it on the ground? And then I just put my.
You just picked up a cigarette butt off the ground.
And
put it in my beer.
The can. You know how you had cans for fucking butts on the side? There was a can right there.
It wouldn't have been on the fucking ground.
Yeah, that was strange.
We didn't even leave. That can was on the table with me at the table. If you pick that shit up from the ground, you are brain dead.
Billy drank a beer.
I'm just going to start picking things up from the ground and putting them right in your fucking drink.
That's not what I did. I didn't do that.
If that was fucking you.
I didn't do it. Listen.
That was the grossest shit that has ever happened. I put my
cigarette out in a can. And
no, but
I
that's what I'm
wasn't
saying.
sure.
No, but I doubt it was though, because it was the butt. It was like a fresh butt. It wasn't smoked, so it wasn't as gross. But it was like somebody just ripped off a butt that was unsmoked and dumped it in my beer, and then fuck that damn thing.
You had a couple sips, and then it probably touched your lips.
No, I drank the whole fucking. I found out when there was that much left in the beer.
Wow.
I was like, that was gross.
Well, welcome back, everybody. This is going to be fairly exciting. Obviously, we're going to be leading up to Halloween. Either we're in the end of September or we're in October. We don't really know because we record a little bit ahead of time.
Whenever this is getting posted.
Yeah, so we got a lot of fun stuff in the works. And obviously, when it comes to the Halloween special, I implore people to watch it. Obviously, you can watch it on Rumble, BitChute, and YouTube. Obviously, is the main one.
Implore,
right? I implore you to watch it. I thought that was
I don't know what that word means. I don't have one to. You implore somebody. What does that mean?
I don't know. I can't wait to see Billy's costume.
Lord of
Audio
the
is delayed
Canadians.
and seems quiet. Fuck! I gotta fucking fix this again.
That's lame.
It seems to happen sometimes, and I tried to fix it on the private window, but this will get edited out of the audio, not the video, because I'm not doing that shit. So
that quiet? Can we put the volume up on there, or do you got to put it up on your roadcaster?
I put it on the roadcaster. It's fine. Everything's fine. It'll get fixed in post. You guys get fucking... People on Twitch get the raw cuts, so eat my ass. Okay, so there's a lot of fun stuff coming. Like I said, there's going to be a big Halloween special. We're all going to be dressed up, and there's going to be a big fun special, hopefully like a kind of before Halloween. We'll be getting together with the boys. All the boys are going to be together except for Aaron because he's in Ireland.
You are a walking advertisement.
Yes, I am. But
your ads, I just want to skip them. And I'm like, hey, what's the episode?
But we're going to be getting into a lot of stuff. So I'll just tell you that, all right? There's big stuff coming in your ass. All right, so this is a dark episode. I've kind of wanted to do this for a bit, and we haven't got the opportunity. And I was looking through stuff of what I wanted to really do for like the Halloween season, and obviously as fall comes in and the winter solstice emerges and everything dies, and then eventually gets reborn.
Yeah.
So when Sam Hain comes around, so this is about Madame LaLaurie. Okay?
What did Madame do?
She has left an imprint in history and mythology down south in New Orleans.
She left it in mythology. How old is Madame here?
She left history and mythology down in the south.
Okay, so how old is
New Orleans.
Was New Orleans a place when they were talking about mythology? I feel like the timestamps here are wrong.
House of Rising Sun. What's that? He says New Orleans. The House of the Rising Sun?
Yeah.
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
Yeah.
That's how that goes in the
New
song.
Orleans.
He doesn't do that. That's
Listen to the
happens.
song next time. House of the Rising Sun. He goes New Orleans.
I don't think he does that.
I'm gonna do something quickly, and I'm gonna do something for you. God damn it! I don't want that over there.
Can you screen share?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I'm
cool.
not going to.
You should. Everyone can see what you've accidentally searched.
House of the Rising.
You know what's crazy while you're doing that?
Yes.
Speaking of advertisements, I started drinking fucking... You know what I started drinking? That's actually fucking delicious, and I never thought I'd touch it just because of the hype. Those fucking Prime hydration drinks are fucking delicious. They actually are.
It tastes like there's so much... I'd want it. It tastes like there's a fuckload of sugar.
Probably, but it was delicious. I loved it. I felt hydrated after. It felt like I drank water. I will say that. I probably didn't, and it probably dehydrated me. But
HIV in it or something.
Probably, but I got my vaccine, so I'm good.
So there you have it. Now the only thing a gambling man ever needs is a suitcase lowered in a trunk. I never knew it was that, but... And, so my father was a gambling man. Yeah. Way down in New Orleans. Just listen to the song again. He says it just like that.
I thought you were reading the episode for a minute.
So this is about Madame LaLaurie. She left an imprint in history, and her mythology is dark because we don't necessarily, because it's so far back, there is people that argue about what the truth is. Mm-hmm. How much was fabricated and how much was actually going on.
You say a good amount. Like, it's the telephone game with anything, right? There's always so much like, did that happen? You're like, okay. It makes for a better story, so we're just going to say it did. Oh, pardon me.
Yes. This, people thought this woman was a beautiful, like a high-class, beautiful woman.
She looks black and white.
Yeah,
Did she have any skin tone?
No.
She was just black and white.
But yeah, supposedly people thought this woman was damn beautiful. I beg to differ.
The times have changed.
Yeah, maybe there. Women looked different back in the day. But you know what they've said? There's a study that came with that said they were getting uglier.
Her nose looks so fucking flat. Looks like she ran into a wall like really hard.
Yeah,
like go back to that other one. Like look how flat.
People are loving your Prime drink reference.
Dude, it actually is fucking good. I never thought I'd buy $5 for a fucking drink, but then you think about it, and I'm like, yeah, like look at that. Look at her fucking nose. No, go back to
you don't like her nose?
The other one though. Go back to the other picture.
You don't like her?
Yeah, look how flat. It looks like she just ran into a fucking wall.
Maybe she did.
Probably, or thrown downstairs.
Nah, she was the one doing the throwing, I think. So, Madame LaLaurie, yes. And her mansion is considered one of the most haunted places in the U.S. of A.
New Orleans.
New Orleans. There's a lot of haunted locations in New Orleans. A collection of rooms used for grotesquely harming and ending the lives of slaves in the most violent ways possible. Nice hitting those rhymes. Yeah. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. What do you think about slavery, Billy?
What do I think, or what am I allowed to say on live? It's bad.
What do you think about it?
I think it's bad.
Do you think we still are slaves?
I think it's bad. I'd like to talk to my lawyer before I answer any more questions.
Yeah, modern day slavery. What did a slave work for?
Food.
A food and a shelter. What do we work for today?
He didn't work for food and a shelter. He worked for food to be thrown into a place. He had a home before. He got taken away from his home.
Not if you're a house N-word, you had a home.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then do the field N-words live in the field?
I assume they live in like a barn.
We'll do some Black History eventually for Black History Month, and we'll dive deep into the atrocities of slavery. But then I actually want to do a whole episode about human slavery throughout history to prove to people that almost every single human being, like race, has been enslaved. Like white people got enslaved by the Ottoman Empire.
It's fair. You can almost see the other angle of that though, where like look, you get the idea of having completely free everybody do what they want in a sense, but then there becomes the line of like how much authority is too much authority.
Yeah,
where it's like
authority.
You will not question my authority. How much authority is too much authority? So if we're just like, let's say, okay, cops are allowed to do. We implement this group of people to go, okay, stop people from killing each other.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we can all agree that's probably a pretty good fucking thing. We have a little bit of defense for the fucking psychos out there that are just going to walk around the street and pop everyone in the ass with no consequence. Because they're mentally fucked.
But why?
Because their parents didn't love them. Anyways,
like yours.
But it's fair. But yeah, no, but that's where it kind of gets carried away, right? And then it becomes a point of like, okay, now you have too much money. And now you want power over people, but you're still playing on the same platform. So that idea of having like a perfect authority figure is never going to fucking happen.
No, fuck
because
authority.
that's impossible.
Most cops serve the establishment.
The other way is so much worse. The other way is, oh, you have a nice place. Okay, tomorrow morning you don't. Tomorrow morning, the fucking people went down the street and they went, there's no consequence here. I'm going to come in, rob everything you have, fucking kill your girl, and we're going to be on our way. And what are you going to do about it? You're not going to do shit.
If everyone owned a gun, it might be a little different.
No, because there's just going to get people that are very fast at guns.
But yet, then I'm not a fan of the police. I think that they're needed in some regard.
But that's what I mean, though.
Most of them serve the establishment.
You're right, but you can't pick and choose anymore. Because once you do that, like, I get it. The idea of having that won't fucking ever happen. That's impossible to happen.
Are you ready, though?
Ready for what?
For the Civil War that's coming?
Like, what the fuck ever? I'm just so tuned out.
Are you ready?
Just like, it is what it fucking is. Like,
the world is collapsing.
Okay.
That's Billy. I heard it's retarded or something.
If it gets to the point of being so bad, then I guess we're all done.
You're going to have to come hang out with me and Brett. Because we got plans. We're going to start a militia. It's going to be called the Proud Boys Point 2.
I'm sure the two of you will hold off that fucking army very well. If they have drones, you know that, right?
Realistically, if there is a civil war, it would be like military against police and stuff. There would be it would be factions of all sorts of people fighting against each other, right? So let's get back into slavery in the 1800s and how terrible this woman was. So born Marie Delphine McCarty, Madame LaLaurie was a wealthy socialite and slave owner who had a body count that was rumored somewhere near 100. Others believe she owned
was
closer
a sloot.
50 slaves.
Fucking sloot.
No, her body count. That's funny, yeah.
Sloot.
It's funny. I was watching
back
this video,
then too. Could you imagine how frowned upon that would have been? Oh my god, like that now is like, ooh, that's too much.
Those weird,
like
big
that's
booty,
a little bit too much.
Those weird big booty bitches that go on like podcasts and they like that they just do it because they're exposing these women for kind of being dumb, and the ones like, I want a guy with like more body counts that sleep with more rather than a virgin guy, and it's funny because it's so opposite when it comes to men. You want a girl that you can work in, right? Like a fucking new couch or some new shoes.
That's gonna get taken off.
We are laughing. And we are very good friends.
We are laughing.
Good buddy, sharing a special moment.
So many believe that it was after she married her third husband that LaLaurie's kind of vigilant, not I guess it was vigilant, but like grotesque nature kind of kicked in this
Horrendous
vile
attitude.
instinct.
There you go.
You know, whatever the reason, she was known for openly flog her slaves for even the most trivial of perceived sights.
What's flogging?
Like a cat of nine tails, like a spanking, like just slapping the shit out of him with some sort of object.
It's called a flog.
Yeah, it's called flogging. Flogging Molly.
Oh, yeah,
get
that
that?
makes sense. Shit, I never knew what that word meant. All right, carry
Really?
on.
Here,
Yeah.
let's look up the definition. Let's look
You
at.
use words you don't know the definitions of?
I know what it is, but I just want to hear Google's definition of it. Flogging, also called as whipping or caning, a beating administrating with a person with a whip or a rod, with blows commonly directed on a person's back. There you
Oh, it's
go.
got to be on the back. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's so
Could
it's
be
like
the bum, though.
slavery. Could be.
So you never
It
know.
trickles.
So even given the abhorrent standards of the behavior towards slaves and obviously her time and place, this was considered extreme, and her behavior had got investigated for her cruelty in 1828, 1829, and 1832. So it's like you could beat your
Back
slaves.
then, they said it was
Listen,
cruelty.
you could beat your slaves, just not too much.
That's cruelty.
Yeah, you could beat them, but not too much.
It's like the same arguments with guns now.
What?
It's like, I'm a responsible slave owner. I shouldn't have my slaves taken away because I treat them fairly.
Yeah, but the whole thing where it's just like there's a meme and it's like if you ban abortions, people are gonna get them done illegally, and then it's like gun owners being like yeah, no shit. If you make guns illegal, criminals are still gonna get them illegally. So why
You're
would you
right,
have
but they're
law-abiding
gonna
citizens to
get
protect their property?
But you're going to get them at a much higher premium. So those same criminals that can get them that easily, that's not going to be the case. You're going to get high-level gang members that get them, sure. You are not going to get Jimmy the crackhead dealer down the street that gets his hand on a $50,000
advocate for gun
gun.
rights. I think every single person that has a sane mind should have a gun. So yes, I don't think the more people that have.
How do you
gun,
know they have sane minds before you give them a gun?
You can trial test. Do they have a job? Do they have a wife and kids?
They might not next week.
Do they have a wife? Do they have anyone?
Maybe their wife fucking leaves them next week and they go insane.
I've always said the analogy, right? If a criminal walks into a bank and everybody is armed, will they be likely to rob that bank? Probably not. It's true, man.
Yeah.
Some historians believe her worst actions may have been over-exaggerated over time as her tale became a legend. But obviously, we don't really know because the news reports on the time obviously painted a terrifying picture. Sorry,
That was super delayed.
no. I need a soundboard guy. I gotta get a guy like in a corner with the fucking computer and the
Jamie?
soundboard. Actress Kathy Bates depicted a fictional version of LaLaurie in the third season of American Horror Story. It was decent.
I fucking thought I watched that. It was
Yeah.
bugging me. I seen that.
Yeah,
I have seen that.
And this is what they've depicted her as, and this is what she probably actually looked like.
That's fucking right, man, dude. That chick was nuts. It was the story in American Horror Story like this actual story?
Yes,
was it pretty much like?
It was based on this story, and they over-exaggerated to some
yeah, that
extent.
chick was fucking nuts.
Do you find her pretty? I feel like she's like a fucking 4. Maybe a 3.5.
She looks 12, dude.
What? Her? She
Yeah.
looks like she's 26.
I don't know.
You don't know what age is anymore. She got married when she was 13, but then some people think she got married when she was 24.
I think
So
that's a
nobody
picture
knows.
of when she was 13.
This does not look like a 13-year-old. If anyone else thinks that's... How do you think... She looks like a grown woman. She got bags under her eyes. Look at those.
She's tired.
Yeah, that's a grown woman. See?
Not really. That's a very young teenager.
I don't know if you knew what people look like back then.
I feel like I ID'd people for a living for a long time.
You think that looked like a young...
That's
like,
a young teenager. If she handed me an ID, I'd say that's fake.
Strange. Everybody go look up her image and then tell me and Billy what you think. I say 25, 26-year-old.
Those are pictures from when she might have been then eventually, but those are pictures from 13 to 15 for
Maybe.
sure.
Billy is always right. Don't get it wrong.
Yeah. Remember that, please. Thank you.
So
Is it that hard?
who was this bitch?
She was a bitch,
She
I
was a
hear.
bitch.
I hear she wasn't very nice.
No, she was not very nice. Delphine. Did you like that name? Is that sexy with that? Like, you'd be like, would you date a girl with the name Delphine?
It's like Daphne, but Dolphine.
Would you date her?
I don't care what the fuck your name is.
What do you care about?
Like, who they are and what they look like. What they look like is a big point, for sure.
Most men are...
definitely a little shallow, for sure.
Yeah, it's true. Delphine LaLaurie was the husband of an Irish immigrant father who settled in New Orleans during the French colonial period, where they're coming in with the colonies. Okay. And her parents were important members of the local community. Delphine's cousin was the mayor of the city from 1815 and 1820. And she kind of knew how to take that to advantage. At a young age, she was kind of like a blue blood to an extent because she knew her family had connections. Right?
Gotcha.
And you got connections and got erections. An attractive young woman, Delphine.
Is that a saying, or did you just make that one up? Okay.
An attractive
That's
young
actually kind
woman,
of funny, though.
Delphine.
You should use that when we talk about the pedophile island and shit.
Yeah, there's some shit. There's definitely some stuff that is coming down the road that I have plans for. And we'll finally, very soon, get into HARP so we can finally get into Project Bluebeam.
I wanted to do that for so fucking
Considering the
long.
fact that the government is manipulating the weather at fucking crazy amounts and using direct energy weapons. Also want to do an episode about that. So a lot of stuff that's coming, you know?
I like when the weather's all fucked up.
Do you? Do you like forest fires burning down your fucking
forest fires aren't cool, but I like when
Cool,
it's extra cold and extra hot because then I make money.
Yeah.
It helps my business.
That's true. So she married well 3 times. Her husbands included a Spanish royal officer, an important local banker, and a physician.
One important local bank teller.
Yeah.
I am the only guy. Anytime anybody comes into this bank, if they have...
He's a banker.
I know.
They make
I know. I'm trying to make a fucking joke. I'm just picturing like a regular teller guy, but the important line. It's like, do you have more than $1,000? You come to my till.
It's one of the goblins from Gringotts.
It's like the express line in the bank around all the poor people.
Potter, yeah. So the physician Louis LaLaurie, prior to her last marriage, she was married to Blanc. However, the good doctor brought a new title to the socialite, Madame LaLaurie. You know? She got a new name.
That's funny. I can't believe how much I know about this now because I didn't realize that was that same person from American Horror Story.
Most people would know that from American Horror Story. And that's why I thought this is interesting because it is so dark and disturbing, and it's been kind of a while since we've dipped our toe into the world of the serial killer. And considering we're kind of traveling forward in time, we're going to step back a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Let's take a little pivot, okay?
And think about the female serial killer.
Yes. We'll
This is the first time we've fucking talked about a female serial killer?
Don't you remember when we talked about female serial killers way back in the day? It's on Patreon.
No, I was drunk.
Very funny.
We were very drunk. I don't remember any of those conversations.
That's one where I was so drunk by the end that you had to finish the episode.
Oh.
Those
are bad ones.
Yes. There's a couple of those on Patreon, so subscribe and have fun.
I have no idea how anyone listens to that.
It's very
horrible.
funny, actually. Some of the stuff we said, I'm like, whoa. Delphine had given birth to 6 children by her 3 husbands, so she's got a lot of baby daddies. I think they all died.
Well, she's a sleuth. She had fucking like 100 body count.
Yeah. However, only 2 daughters lived with her at the royal street. So obviously, I'm guessing the additional. So the rest of the kids must have been with the other fathers or the other families. I was watching videos on this, and they didn't really get into details about that. Additionally, Delphine became the mistress of a full house of slaves. She's got a full house, okay? She's got playing the cards right. Even though the marriage was good, a good scenario for many women at the time, the lovely aristocrat was unusually independent, which I'm surprised they didn't think she was a witch. You know, you're too independent, you got your own house, you're making some weird shit in a pot.
She's always every night, like 6 p.m. I see her chanting over a large pot with a
cauldron.
Why
is she stirring?
She just stirs it for no reason.
Out the window.
She's mumbling to herself.
That's a wink, wink, hint, hint, what we might be getting into for the Halloween special. In fact, she had owned her own business and
It's blatantly telling somebody. That's not a hint.
And she insisted on managing her own affairs. No one knew that those affairs included torturing and murdering slaves,
and having
of her
affairs.
own household. Although most official reports claim that she is directly responsible for the torturous deaths of 4 slaves. Many people believe it was more than that. Her macabre actions make her one of the most notorious serial killers in American history.
It's 4.
But if they say that it's more, but because it's like
she's one of the most notorious people, and they don't know for sure. It's a guess. It's like we think this person's.
It's just like when we did H.H. Holmes. Remember, you covered that.
Yeah, I did.
And we'll be getting back to that stuff. You really want to do Unit 37, don't you?
No, I wanted to do fucking heart or no, what's it called? Unit
731.
No,
the Japanese torture
it's not
shit.
731. It's
something like that. I have it written.
6 something.
It's fine.
Fuck, I don't remember.
Billy's really interested by
681?
what Japanese people did to prisoners of war during
Dude, they're
the war.
fucking nuts.
It's crazy, man. So no one thought that obviously this would be part of it. They see a lot of these people like aristocrats, like someone like I don't know, Oprah, right? You think she's all like a nice
just kills
lady.
a bunch of people.
You think she's like a really nice lady, and then she's connected to like a creepy pedophile guru and stuff like that. And she's asking people to give money to an island that burnt down from a fucking direct energy weapon. Meanwhile, she has billions of dollars. People like that are really like criminals behind the scenes, but they try to act like they're good in the public eye.
Ellen.
Yes.
Ellen's a bitch, I hear.
I heard Ellen is involved with child trafficking, and same with Oprah. And it goes very deep. The web. What? Why?
What?
Why? Tell me why. Why does Ellen's set when she was on air look like Jeffrey Epstein's island? Tell me that. Why? Why would you purposely make it like that? Why is we talked about this?
Maybe it just looked like a fucking island, and it was a shitty resemblance.
Symbolism is a huge thing, and they put it everywhere. So they do it out in the open, as I've always said. And then if we go along with it and we don't notice these symbols and stuff, then we're giving our consent. Essentially, it's the karmatic laws of the universe, and the reptilians are just like sucking up that energy. Full fucking blowjob, deep throat and to the balls, bro.
Is that how they suck energy, you think?
I don't think
Is that what they do? Is that why you're so in love with them? You're just hoping?
Come on, give me a good fucking snake blowjob. That long fucking wriggly tongue. On the outside of 1140 Royal Street was Benning. Whatever. Oh, that was probably the estate and what it was called. Benning. Let me just look this up real quick for us.
You seem very ill-prepared this time.
I watched a bunch of videos about this shit. I don't know what these words mean, though. Benning. Gentle and kind. Okay. Weird. Strange. And a glorious example of wealth and social standing. So it's talking about the street, I guess, in New Orleans, how it was, like, nice and kind. That's a weird way to phrase it. But it was like a rich, wealthy street. And you think about all the parties. What do you think it sounded like in New Orleans?
You don't hear it. They're so wealthy. It's so separated that like everyone has their own house party. It doesn't really bother anyone else. They're in their own little castles.
It was pure New Orleans elegance and class.
Oh, yeah.
Madame LaLaurie purchased the prime piece of French Quarter real estate for, that's crazy, $33,000 in 1831.
Wow, what do you think that fucking exchange rate is?
I would love to know what that's worth today.
1970, I just watched the video this morning. 1975, there was
let me see.
Just to put it in perspective, is 1871? 1975,
1831, wow.
$40,000 is basically 1.2 mil today.
It's crazy, the extreme, especially in today's economy.
Today's extra, yeah.
It's
extra.
Canada is.
That's a lot of money for back then. Holy shit.
Okay, so it's over $1 million.
Okay, so that's not that bad though.
Yeah,
it's just the economy that's fucked up. That's not actually that much money.
I know. Maybe they stop laundering our money through proxy wars. We could be a lot better off. Most people presume that she used money the 2-time Most people presume that she used money, the 2-time window inherited from her previous husband. The following year, she built the large 2-story mansion. Oh, so she only bought the plot of land was about $1 million.
Oh, okay.
And then so she didn't even build the house and the expenses that go with that probably, right? So the following year, she built the large 2-story mansion and attached the slave quarters. She gave them a whole room.
Oh, that's
Isn't that nice?
That's very
so
nice. They housed them. That's like charity.
I know.
They would have been homeless.
It stood like a sentinel above the Virex Carlin side. Things weren't so idyllic, so I'm not going to pronounce these
Just
French
carry
words.
on.
Fuck those French people. Whispers. Sorry, if you live in Quebec and you listen to the show,
Stop listening.
I love you, but your province is a smite against God. Whispers circulated through the quarter about. Actually, I like Quebec is very beautiful, so I'm not shitting on the city. I'm shitting on some of you people. Whispers circulated throughout the quarter about Madame LaLaurie's sadistic side.
Racist.
Do you know that French people in France don't even like Quebec? So they're like, fuck those guys. They have their own stupid French language. So about Madame LaLaurie's sadistic side and her fondness for abusing slaves. By 1833, it became harder for her to evade the attention of local authorities. Even 2 of her daughters were also thought to be spiritless and unhappy looking. But the lady was so grateful and accomplished was so graceful and accomplished, so charming in her manners, and so with her hospitality too, that no one ventured to open these questions about her perfect goodness.
Yeah,
because they're like, she's helping out the slaves. She's actually giving them some place to live. She's this outstanding woman in society.
Like I purchased my slaves, but like I bought them, and I bought them at a premium.
What a weird time! What a weird time to live.
It's like going to the store. Just buying a person.
A weird time to live. Look at this guy. He's like, look at my slaves, man. Isn't this awesome? Like, what the fuck?
I'm the leader of the slaves.
We're showing an image from way back in the day, and it looks like a Confederate-looking dude, and he's just got all of his slaves behind him. Look at all these people. It's like, these are mine. Such a wild time, though. We'll get into that later.
What is that?
See, this is...
What are they doing? Is that first, second, and third prize?
I think that's probably how they sold them in that kind of regard. Who wants the first for this? And they call them horrible things.
His lovely family. I know it's down. They got a child, so that a little bit of their attention is directed towards that.
Yeah, what a time to exist.
That's literally what they did, though, right? Like they're like, this is his muscle physique is perfect. He can
they would sell them like they're selling you a fucking new car.
Yeah, he's got 980 horsepower.
For all you ladies out there, he's got an 11-inch cock. Wait, don't tell that to the husband. Because
that was like common, right? Yeah, the slaves would fuck the wives.
The wives,
yeah.
The wives would probably be doing it because they see their large Johnson, right? And then they're like, "Ooh, I've never seen that before." Their husband's some aristocrat dude with a powdered wig, and he's fat and obese and just drinking fucking scotch.
I don't even have a fucking dick.
It's gone. So the story
it's inverted.
So the story goes that the mistress became upset when one of her slaves, a 12-year-old girl named Laya, caught a triangle caught a tangle. Jesus Christ. Caught a tangle while brushing her owner's hair. The cruel woman seized a whip, and then the little girl ran, and her little legs couldn't carry her to the second floor, up through the attic to the roof to the mansion. That's as far as she got. Her little legs carried her all the way up upstairs where I guess the slave quarters I think were, or at least
in the attic.
Yeah,
it's hot
attic.
in there.
I know you would know well. Billy lives in an attic.
I do.
Know what's funny? Huh. When I was like younger and I was like producing music and I was thinking about what name I wanted to call myself and shit.
Yeah,
I was gonna call myself Addict, but ADDIC. Because I was like, I was technically an addict back then, and I was like, but I'm also a dick. Which I thought so stupid because I was going through names and cool looking shit that I wanted to write. And for everybody out there, my music and the tracks that Billy have been on will eventually be put on Spotify and Apple Music. I've just got approved of that shit. So it's time this comes out. It should be out. You just have to look up the Raptilian on wherever you listen to music, and you should be able to find my music by then. Pretty cool. Finally decided to do it. I probably could have done this a long time ago.
Probably.
So the little girl ran up the stairs. as fast as her legs could carry her, to the second floor, up through the attic, and to the roof of the mansion. As a neighbor looked on, Delphine LaLaurie emerged and closed in on the young girl. What happened next is a matter of speculation that is still discussed in New Orleans. Some say that the little girl lost her footing. Others say the woman pushed her. A few say that she jumped on purpose. All that is known for certain is that the little girl tumbled from the roof of the mansion.
She tumbled down.
Yes. She tumbled.
Did a little tumble.
Dumb ways to die. So many dumb ways to die.
Billy is very serious. Sorry, as the first sound effect, I was like, this is going to be real bad, but... So Delphine's neighbor had witnessed this event, seeing the child about to spring over. The witness put her hands before her eyes, and she heard the fall and saw the child take.
She goes, "No, I can't look.
Yeah,
I can't see it.
So
I don't try to fucking help."
She saw the child taken back, her body's bending and limbs hanging as if every bone in her body was broken. Very sad.
It's fucking terrible. It's rough, man.
It is rough. Very rough. Don't cry, Billy. It's okay.
Sad, dude.
Very sad. Talk about a lot of sad things. Wait till I really want to dive into the residential schools one day, and that's going to be
carry on.
So sad.
I don't want to talk about that. Carry on.
I don't
What's
want
next?
to talk about that. The lady watched for many hours. That's strange. And at night, she brought the at night the body was brought out on a shallow so really weird. The lady
You just
watched.
have a fucking seizure?
I know. Listen to me. The lady, because I was trying to they wrote this weird, but the lady was watching this sad little girl's dead body slain on the fucking road, and waited a bunch of hours, and then eventually got the body, dug a shallow grave by torchlight in the corner of her yard, and the body was covered over. No secret was made of this. No secret was made of what had been seen. So people were talking about it in town. You know, I know I whip my slaves sometimes, but I don't push them off roofs, you know?
She 100% did it. She did not just wait hours. She's like, what do I do? How do I play this?
Right, well, she's talking about when the lady that witnessed it wanted to obviously bury the little girl rather than leaving her just dead on the ground, so she waited.
Lady that witnessed it was part of it.
You think so?
I think so. She didn't wait hours
to
pick up a little girl.
At the time, Delphine's mansion was the tallest structure in the French Quarter. So a big thing.
It's probably pretty fucking high.
Because I'm pretty sure, because that would be the French Quarter, because a lot of the French came over and obviously bought up land there and stuff like that. And you'd be surprised how much sway the French have throughout our society beforehand, like when the slave trade started in certain wars and all this stuff, and how much they invaded all these other countries. I know most people would know that, but the history of it is pretty. You think Spaniards were bad? Man, the French were really bad to people and really bad to just coming in and being like, now you got to learn our ways. Sorry that you've lived in peace for all this time, but fuck you. You have to learn French now. You said, okay? So
we go baguettes.
They influence a lot of stuff that people really don't know about, especially the aristocrats or the oligarchs, they say. So an investigation ensued, and the court found the slave owner guilty of illegal cruelty against 9 slaves. As a result,
only 9 of them.
Get this. So as a result, she paid a fine and forfeited the slaves that supposedly she abused. So she just saw their other slaves, but the ones that she supposedly abused. But get this. What happened next is evidence of the slave owner's cunning wickedness. Perhaps she sought vengeance. Vengeance. Like Batman.
Against what?
The slaves that left, that she had to forfeit.
Oh, okay.
Like it's a fucking hockey game.
So she got him back somehow?
She convinced relatives to buy back the slaves and sell them back to her. Subsequently, the slaves quietly returned to the mansion at night. People speculate that the sadistic woman brought them back for the purpose of teaching them a lesson in the form of torture. She's a
crazy bitch.
She's a cruel bitch. Cruel-hearted bitch. Yeah.
I love how that's the one part that changed in the story versus like the horror story is they made her like ugly and fat and big.
Yeah,
like so
I know.
everybody would hate her, and then now you're saying that apparently she was renowned as beautiful.
Look at it, this building wasn't very architecturally.
Looks like a fucking
Sexy.
shitty motel. It looks like there's a dive bar at the bottom, and you got a bunch of fucking 1-bedroom apartments above it.
I know it's not like a really good looking like place.
It's 1800s. It's
Yeah, it's very square. Let's say that.
they squared the fuck out of that.
If you look at
They used their rulers and they made that shit square.
if you look at architecture in like back in the day,
Yeah, usually it was pretty beautiful.
it was
for the most
beautiful,
part.
and compared to what we live in now, which is like if you go to a city, it seems like a soulless, vapid
gross.
place. I think that's on purpose. You know.
Yeah, maybe.
So, on the morning of April 10th, 1884, one of Delphine's slaves decided she could no longer endure the terrors at 1140 Royal Street. Delphine had chained her to the stove in the kitchen where she labored over luxurious meals for the mistress and her guests. In her misery and fear, the 70-year-old woman decided to take her life, so she started a fire in hopes that the flames would consume both herself and the house of horrors.
Just like this thing needs to die.
And if you are 70 and you've probably lived your entire life as a fucking slave for
we're done.
ignorant, like rich aristocratic white people, I'm sure that it would like I'm sick of this.
We're done.
Yeah,
I want to try to
I
help
want to show
somebody
the
else.
proof.
Yeah,
of,
100%. Show me the proof.
Now we start fires to claim
Where's the
climate
pudding?
change is a fucking thing. You know what's funny about that too?
What's that?
I just had a weird thought. I was like, the climate changes all the time. It has for fucking as long as the planet has existed, if it's flat or fucking round or whatever. And the fact that it's like climate change. Well, fucking no shit. The climate changes. It's such a weird way to put it. Like, because they couldn't go with like, remember when we were kids, the ozone's coming apart. We need to seal up the ozone. All that shit. There's a hole in the ozone. They sold us that fucking lie. And the 70s, it was like, oh, there's going to be an ice age. And then it was like pollution. And then that went away. And then it was global warming. And then that went away because temperatures are actually dropping. And now it's climate change because it encompasses everything. The climate does change.
It's like, there you go. And Canadians are very scared of climate change, and they're stressed.
Yes, just wait till the winter. When
About the
everything goes
climate
bad.
change.
Be a winter of death. The fire spread quickly, but not fast enough. Local police and fire brigades responded. And back then it was like, "Brr, brr," like all those like fire dudes like running with a fucking hose and like a bucket of water. And they got like a little fucking... I always just think, especially back then, of like Dumbo when the clowns try to put out the fire in the movie. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. That's what I think of because it would be hard. Like they didn't have like. I feel like they definitely had. I don't know if they even had.
Well, show that picture. They had hoses.
You think so?
They had it in the picture.
Yeah, but this is.
No, the one you're showing with
some more slaves.
The one that you're showing when they're putting out the fire.
Oh, I guess maybe.
No, the other one you said we're going to get into in a minute. That one.
Oh, yeah, I guess. Look at that, though. They had those little trolley things and shit.
Yeah, they're probably pumping the water through like a pump system.
Yeah.
Whatever. Someone's on the other end just pumping the fuck away.
Everyone's freaking out because you would like especially back then where there's just everything's being lit by like candles and what's the other one with oil, the oil lamps and stuff like that. So you'd have like all that and then
you can't even put that out with water.
It'd be
It's
so
a grease
probably
fire
bright.
at that point.
I know it'd probably be so bright. You know what I mean? What a wild time to exist. I wonder if we existed back then. I love the idea. I want to get into like reincarnation stuff eventually on the show. I have done it with Juan, but maybe revisit it for like a live special thing. But it's I wish I could find like a picture of people that look like us back then. It's just like, look at there we are. You know that they have the vampire celebrities.
Yeah.
Just like fucking they existed throughout all time, but that's because they're reptilians. They're just families breeding.
Like who?
There's a bunch of them. Like, there's a guy who looks just like Jay-Z. We should do an episode on that because it's fascinating. It's like all these vintage photos. Like, there's someone that looks like, who's that gay guy as part of Scientology that did the movie Grease? John Travolta. There's like a picture of him way back in it looks just like him. Same with Keanu Reeves. I kind of like him.
I fucking love Keanu Reeves.
He seems like legit and sometimes says some real shit, but then he's probably a vampire, so
She's like, just stop looking at me.
So while Madame LaLaurie struggled to save her furniture, she's like, get all this expensive furniture out here. I need my furniture. Atrocities, the authorities tended to the old woman wearing the ankle chain at the stove. So she did survive.
Okay.
Later, when the fire was more or less under control, the slave confessed her arson and her choice of death over her life with Delphine.
That's amazing if that's the actual photo from that, because that whole place looked up in flames. There's no way anyone got away from that shit.
That is probably an interpretation.
Yeah, that's got to be a mocked photo.
Sorry. This one. Yeah, it would have been in,
like, look at that.
Yeah.
That place is gone. It's done. You're done.
I know.
You did not control that. Instead, and then also still see somebody alive. A 70-year-old lady, no less, alive. No fucking way.
Know. I don't know. It's hard to
I don't believe it.
I know. It's hard to tell because, like, they say that it did really, like, it was, like, up in flames. Like, it caught, like it was on fire.
There's no fucking way, man. The fumes alone would have killed her.
Yeah, maybe. People can survive some crazy shit.
Not death.
But you know how they'd have like somebody at the fire, and then the next day they'd like they would probably do some sort of drawing for the newspaper.
Yeah.
To like interpret
how bad it really was.
What happened? You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm trying to. Here, I'm gonna see if I can bring up another. Oh, this is like looks like shit. I was gonna try to bring up another interpretation of the fire. There's not much images, even of like I tried to look of the images of
so it was probably just a drawing then for
and
the
this is like a lot. This is pretty much all the images that there is other than the modern day. Like this is not obviously at the time Eric's didn't have fucking cameras, but like this was I think in like the 40s or something like that, 30s or 40s.
Okay.
Of people taking photos of it, but I even looked like inside the mansion and whatever, and there's not a lot of images.
How many people would really have access and cameras to go?
And I'm pretty sure, I think we'll get to it later, but I'm pretty sure Nicolas Cage bought this place and then he went like bankrupt. Something like that. I don't know if we get to it, but I'm pretty sure that Nicolas Cage bought this, the mansion, and he was like going bankrupt because he did it.
My fucking boss said the funniest thing the other day, speaking of Nicolas Cage. He's just like, we're having a tough day, and he like posts a thing, and he's like, if Nicolas Cage can still get work, you can do anything.
Man,
like,
people love him. Though. People love him. Like, people are obsessed with him because he does all these, like, weird, obscure movies.
Yeah.
Like, and there's, like, a big fan base for that guy. Juan has a cutout
of him in
his like, background. Like, he loves that dude. So, obviously, you know, additionally, she told her rescuers, the slave that, you know, they hooked to the stove, that when Madame took slaves to the upper areas of the mansion, the poor souls never returned. Bystanders involved in bringing the fire under control sought to assist the authorities with the excavation of the mansion. Jesus Christ, what's going on with me today? Bystanders involved in bringing the fire under control sought to assist authorities with the evacuation of the mansion.
Okay.
When they found the door to the slave quarters locked, Delphine and her husband refused to hand over the key.
Cool. Yeah, you're not going over there.
A few local citizens took it up upon themselves to break down the door. Like, you get out of here. You get out of here.
We're
gonna knock down this door. They just bring in like the biggest dude and just be like fucking hold him and run him into the door.
Use him as a bear. What the fuck's the thing called? Like the pole that they hit doors with.
It's gonna bug me now.
Starts with a B.
Bar. I know what it is.
I know. What a weird word to just escape your mind. Anyways, carry on. It'll come to me soon.
Damn, that's going to bug me. So what awaited them on the other side was a scene so gruesome that it had left a lasting imprint on the collective psyche of America, subconsciously drawing us all to the horror of, obviously, of Madame LaLaurie and her persona as this crazy woman, you know? God, I'm not getting good at hitting these on time.
Yeah, you're getting slow and sloppy.
I know. Well,
I should not be in front of you today.
That's actually kind of funny.
Drugs and alcohol have ruined my life.
Well, yeah.
They do. Don't do drugs.
Yeah. So this is so let's find out. All right. So on April 11th, 1834, and if you wonder what Billy's doing, Billy has allergies.
Sorry, guys. It's fucking killing me.
Just let him do it so I can edit it after in the audio at least.
I'll try to continue. I'm dying right now, man.
Sound like you just fucking did a big fucking pile of coke.
It really does. At least there's video to show that I didn't.
But how do we know? You know?
Did I manipulate live video? That's impressive. Can you think you can do that?
Do you think that
Can you manipulate
you think
live?
you getting wasted last night contributed to your allergies worse? Because you know if you like drink and you like drains out your body. Like there's been times where I drink too much and then I feel like shit the next day and my nose is stuffy and it's like
No,
it
can't be that. Alcohol's good for you.
after you just said don't do drugs.
It's not a drug. It's a different drug. This one's fine.
On
All other drugs that I don't do are bad for you. Alcohol is fun.
Yeah, on April 11th, 1834, while he drinks the beer, the New Orleans Bee stated 7 slaves, more or less horribly mutilated, were seen suspended by the neck, with their limbs apparently stretched and torn from one extremity to the other.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
That's intense.
That's fucked. They, like, suspended by their neck, and they stretched out their fucking, all their arms.
That's what happened to me.
Yeah. in her thesis paper for Louisiana State University, Caddy Francis Marlas stated, Harriet Martinia was an English writer and her first female sociologist. In 1836, just 2 years after the fire, she visited New Orleans with the help of her extensive contacts in New Orleans, and she thoroughly investigated the Madame LaLaurie story. In fact, it was the site of the Royal Street Mansion ruins that incited her curiosity. She subsequently published a report in her book, In the Retrospect of Western Travel, in 1838, in which she gives an extensive account of the disturbing story.
I love how back in the day that was considered like more like graspy and it was good for news.
Yeah.
If somebody spoke to me like that, how quickly I would just like not say a fucking word, but just walk away.
Why did people
I'm
talk like that back in the day when they're
talking
like,
to you?
It's on the news today. We like it's just like, is it like a tone to like brainwash people? It's more annoying because
it's so fucking annoying.
People on the news, the tone they use is actually a form of they hypnotize you. It's hypnosis. That's why it's very flat and tonally. Like if you talk to like a hypnotist, they will tell you like that the news and the way they speak on the news is on purpose because they're trying to draw you in. That's why this kind of like calming like. Sit here and watch the news with us as we discussed it late night. Tonight, we're talking about how 17 people died. That, you know what I mean? And
I should try that for sales.
yeah, you should.
If it works.
Very calm, right?
I'm like, hey, what up?
Do you need some fucking attic insulation?
Yeah, you do. Come here. Let me talk to you.
A horrible sight met their eyes. Of the 9 slaves, the skeletons of 2 were afterward found poked in the ground, and the other 7 could scarcely be recognized. I don't know what the hell shit that's.
Poked in the ground?
Yeah, the skeletons of 2 were afterward found poked in the ground. It's also written in 1838.
It maybe poked up out of the ground? Yeah. Like you saw like some of their bones sticking out?
Weird. The other 7 could scarcely be recognized as humans. That's how much she tortured them. This is supposed to be an example of the type of shit she would do.
Just like, yeah, you're dead.
That's just from the whippings, from the flogging.
They took a fucking photo of that.
Yeah.
Weird.
People to prove that this stuff was actually happening. I'm sure like all the evidence, and even when I was looking up, pictures of slaves back then, because obviously you had the Emancipation Proclamation, and Lincoln freed the slaves and actually wanted to send them back to Africa. That was his plan.
Yeah.
But like I was looking for like images to kind of show people like kind of like to have some context of how like bad and disturbing and strange it was to like think that you could own humans. But there's not much photos and stuff, at least what Google is showing me, so who knows, but there's not much, there's only depictions, some photos just after, like when the slave trade was just kind of
when did photos really
Yeah,
you had to be pretty fucking rich to get a camera those days.
I'm sure.
And the rich people weren't taking pictures of the shit they were doing.
Yeah.
Like, when did cameras become like to a point of being like general?
Photography was invented in 1822. And that was the first.
So it's literally 10 years after invention.
Describe to me what the first photo ever taken was, Billy. I know what that is.
Can you zoom in?
I don't even know what that is. We can't. We're not going to bring it up on screen, but you can.
World's first photograph.
It's just. It looks like a building.
Yeah, those are two buildings, and that's.
But it looks like shit. Like you can't even.
It's so fucking bad.
That's crazy, eh? Crazy, but I want to know when.
It's kind of cool that you'd be able to do that though.
Become
like standard.
Common.
Yeah.
Probably 1888.
Yeah. Okay. So every single photo you're seeing with slavery is only rich people.
Yeah.
They're not going to take photos of the shit that they're doing bad. Like, you're not going to see that. It's all just going to be pictures or AI.
You have to be like, stand there. And then slavery ended in 1865. So that makes a lot of sense because it was common in 1888. Pretty wild. Crazy. It's just like crazy to and then they would literally do it. Like, we'll end up doing this for an episode at some point. Maybe have someone that knows the history. I wouldn't mind talking.
You're going to say was a slave.
Yeah,
we're going to bring on a first-class citizen.
Yes.
Let's go.
We'll find the oldest man. I'm just kidding.
Did somebody hurt you?
But this is the weird thing of auctioning off human beings is such a crazy thing to me. Just be like, this one is semi-beautiful. She's got a nice tan. That's her skin color. No, it's like she got a nice...
There was a movie, actually, I watched. I don't fucking remember for the life of me what it was called. But anyways, they were basically showing the pedophile ring where for sex trafficking. So basically they would grab these girls.
Oh, wait, did you watch Sound of Freedom?
I don't know. It's not the Sound of Freedom. Anyways, they grab these girls, and this is old. I fucking watched this maybe 10 years ago. I don't remember what the movie was, but anyways, they kidnapped these girls from an airport or whatever, and then they brought them into this room, and they stripped them of their clothes. They were just in their underwear, and they got put into the center of the glass room, and there was 8 people on the other side of this one-way mirror bidding.
That's
was it taken?
And then
they were just
Family Guy made fun of it,
and they're just bidding on what was going on. Oh, Family Guy did make it. That was taken.
Isn't that fucked up?
They're just bidding on 200,000.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? And that is probably extremely real.
Yeah, maybe.
And it still happens to this day. One of the biggest atrocities, the shit that's going on when it comes to slavery still exists. Look what the fuck they're doing. All right, we're gonna the climate is changing and we need to save your lives because the world's gonna end because of climate change.
Yeah.
Oh, how about we take down all the trees and then we put up our big windmills. Because you need to destroy a bunch of trees to put those stupid windmill turbines up. Those turbines you need to do.
What do we got to put up?
Those turbines.
No, what was the other word?
The windmill. It's kind of like a windmill, bro.
Say it again.
Windmill.
Okay.
Is it not how it's pronounced?
No, just carry on. I just want to leave that as we are.
Windmill. When is that not what? Oh my god, you're gonna go way longer than I thought.
I like this. No, just leave it. I just want you to pronounce it that way for the rest of your life. Just leave it.
Windmill. Oh, windmill. That's fucking funny. Windmill. What the fuck did I think that shit? Weird. But and they do shit like that, or they're we need to stop, men working out in the oil rigs because oil is bad, even though I think they have 300 years worth of oil. But then they're we'll get a bunch of slave children to mine cobalt. So it's such a hypocritical thing because slavery still exists today, especially even child trafficking.
Dude, people the amount of ignorance in anything. It's electric cars. This is a big one.
Yeah.
These batteries do not last long, and the amount of fucking insane resources it takes to make a fucking battery is unfucking believable.
What's crazy? There's people, and I believe this, that when you're in an electric car, you're just being radiated. It's so bad for you that the more and people can claim whatever. There is there is research that has been done into this.
It's just a battery. I can't imagine
because
that.
you're sitting in this because of some of the components they use in some electric cars. You're sitting in like a radiated box.
But to be fair, if you cared about that at all, you would never own a cell phone. That already is fucking brutal.
I try to put that every time I use it and stuff like that. Like at work, I put it out of my pocket. I try to keep it out of my pocket as much as possible.
Yeah.
And then when I work on my computer, I feel like I can feel my nuts roasting. And there's I have one of those things for it, but I just feel weird after. I don't like it. It scares me.
I fucking went to this one lady's house once, and she asked me to turn off my cell phone on the way in. I was like,
huh.
I'm strong enough to take you. All right. Turned it off, and I'm like, all right, I'm good. Yeah. Turned it off. Anyways, she was committed. She was like, look, I share a wall with my neighbor here, and in between that wall behind you, I put all this tin foil and radiating shit that she's like, I have nothing in my house that commits radioactive anything.
Wow, I'd like this woman.
And she's like, watch, turn on your phone. And she held radiation, the meter up to it. And I was like, and then I just looked behind her, and I'm like, is that a microwave?
I don't ever.
Do you have a fucking microwave and you're lecturing me about being a guest in your house with my cell phone on?
Funny?
Fuck you.
You know what's funny? When we used to work at fucking Swiss Chalet together, Swiss Chalet, Canadian restaurant where I met Billy originally. Your brother was the first person to ever tell me that when you use a microwave, it depletes 90% of its nutrition.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah. There's not you're putting nothing in your body.
Just
putting
substance.
Particles. Yes,
Substance.
It's
to physically feel full.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? It's wild. Danny's the first person to tell me that shit, and I was I don't know, because Danny was older than me. I think I was 18, 19 or some shit like that, and I was like, makes sense though. You always hear that it's radiation. Yeah. You don't think about what it's doing to your food.
It's fucking killing it.
Yeah, you should never ever use a microwave. You should throw yourself off a cliff. Everybody, it'll be fun. It's a fun time. So
it's so fucking convenient, man.
An air fryer or an oven
for a fucking can of soup.
Yeah. Is that what you're eating?
Fuck.
Billy's so poor. He's only eating cans of soup.
I eat beefaroni.
Yeah, you're already gonna get cancer from that though. So
beefaroni's good.
They couldn't even recognize what the slaves look like, which is such sad and crazy, because of this horrible woman. Their faces had the wildness of famine. It's a weird way to put it. This is the way this lady put it in the article that she wrote in 1838. And their bones were coming through their skin.
That's disgusting.
That's how emancipated they were.
It's fucking brutal, man.
Is that the right word I'm using? Emancipated? It means you're God, today I'm off.
That's another one I'm not 100% confident on.
I'm off today. Oh,
I gotta do this. Go on the way. So I don't trust Google.
I don't Google, but I did have a Google phone. What does emancipated mean? Free from legal or... That's not the right word. Emaciated. That's what it is. What does emaciated mean? Abnormally thin or weak, especially because of illness or lack of food. Emaciated. Is that what I said, right?
Sure.
One of those words.
Sure. Take it.
Emaciated.
And run with it.
Emaciated is close, okay?
There you go.
Remember, people, we drink on this. I smoke weed. I'm smoking a weed pen. Things happen, okay? Okay? Get it?
Drugs are bad for you.
Yeah, everything's bad for you. It's everything. There's probably some shit in my tattoos. I'm probably dying right now.
Ink and skin's probably that would be very high up there on the list, I'm sure.
I know. There's probably chemicals they put in it, but I don't want to stop. I want to cover my whole body, man. Fuck, it's sad. But I want to do it. And then when I die, they'll know exactly what I liked. You know, this guy likes Satan because my blood cross. He liked Chinese people and Marilyn Monroe and a scorpion.
We will honor the scorpion, man.
Yeah, it's so weird. But that's what. But
I don't know. I think he wanted Marilyn Monroe dead. We don't like Marilyn Monroe no more.
Yeah. He likes W's and M's put together. It's
Big fan.
It's such a weird thing because if you had people the cultures and using, we'll have a tattoo episode eventually one day of the history of it, but
it's not even
using it for thousands of years. But nowadays it's changed so much, right? With who knows what chemicals are inside of it. And before I should be tick, 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 just with ink in your fucking arm, right?
Fucking the stick and pokes.
I would like to do that one tattoo of like the real way they did it. I heard it hurts like fuck.
Yeah,
now.
shit. Fucking, I got a little smiley face stick and poke above my
That's
knee.
so
That's
stupid.
fucking. It was dumb, but like that. Like I couldn't imagine doing like an actual piece.
We got to do a
Because
rant
like even
episode.
that, I was sitting there drunk, and I'm like, I don't fucking like that.
We gotta
Like,
do a rant
ow,
episode for the
bitch.
Patreon. It will come because obviously you get some of this where we do banter while we're kind of having fun doing these episodes. So let me tell you just a quick story. My buddy Nate that I used to know, his buddy Joey was a tattoo artist. He used to do tattoos on Nate to test them. He had the weirdest looking. Joey got actually pretty good, but it looked like shit at first. He had like a little rat on his arm, a head of a dinosaur.
Go tell my girlfriend that you don't like rat tattoos.
Does she have one?
Yeah, it's actually really good though.
Did you call her Takashi 69?
Oh, I didn't get that at first.
So he came into work the one day and he was like, yeah, so I did something fucking stupid over the weekend. And I'm like, okay. And he was like, guys, and my buddy were kind of drunk. And he was like, I had the dumb idea to tattoo my dick. And this kid had like big ass spacers and was like a chubby dude with a tattoo gun.
Oh, fucking ow.
And he said that like to do a tattoo properly on your dick, you need to be hard. So he was like, I had to get hard, and my buddy was like I was like, is your buddy sitting there with you? He's like, no, he's in the other room. He let me do it. And I was like, okay. And he's like, you had to get hard. So he's like, I kept trying to get hard, but every time the needle touched my skin, it just hurt so much.
You're gone.
And listen to me, he did a smiley face on the tip of his penis that will be there for the rest of his life as it gets smudged. And he put 666 on the shaft of his dick. Is that fucked?
Why do I'm a skeptical person. I feel like he lied to you.
No, he showed me. Not his actual penis. Listen to me. Listen to me. He showed everyone.
He was showing everyone at work. He was waving it around.
Listen.
He's like, check out what I did.
Listen to what he did. He took a picture of it, but he like zoomed it in and cropped it so you would just see where it was. And then he was like, I was like,
Easy to grab that from Google.
no, listen to me. And I told him, I was like, I don't believe you and shit like that. And he was like, ask Joey. He's like, I fucking did it. And then he showed one of the girls in fucking front of house at the restaurant, and she said that he did do it.
Wow.
That's fucked. Ugh. I think I've told that story, but that's just like
Fucking impressive to stick through something like that.
fucking bizarre. You know, that's a way of torturing yourself in a way, right? So,
Yeah, that's the way. Sure.
so
On the
crazy.
tip, like,
These slaves' bones were coming through their skin. They weren't recognized as humans, so everyone remembers what the hell we're talking about after Billy feels very insecure about his own penis.
no, I'm just thinking of fucking getting tattooed on the dick, like the tip, like fuck, like. The next thing you say that happened to these slaves, I'd be like, oh, well, better than getting tattooed on the tip of your dick, I guess.
That always is something that like sticks with especially men, like that Hostel movie that eventually we'll cover on Class Horrorcast. But like that the Hostel movie, where in the second one the chick cuts off the guy's dick and throws it to the dogs.
I remember that. Yeah, I've seen
Whoa.
that.
So fucked up. So they were chained and tied in constrained postures.
Okay.
So you think about how like sounds fucked up, and they're probably alive when they did this, but like the way Jeffrey Dahmer did, like I don't know if they probably were, some of them were probably alive, but how he would pose them in these weird, like he had one slave where it's like his body was like bent off, not slave, but serial killer or victim of Jeffrey Dahmer, where his body was like bent in this fucking weird way, and it was scary looking, you know.
You don't like it, eh?
So it'd be like this. It's this weird. Some were on their knees. Some with their hands above their head. Some had iron collars with spikes, which kept their heads in one position. That's fucked because you wouldn't be able to turn your head, and eventually your head would just get stuck like that. Imagine what it'd be doing to your body. There is, because her husband was a doctor, there is speculation that he might have been experimenting on them. Just to see, because back then,
you
before
need to know what's going on. You're like, how much blood can someone lose?
Yeah.
While still being hydrated. And
You know how often that stuff probably happened? The Nazis did it. I bet you the other side did. I bet you every fucked up kind of criminal, like just a psychopath would do that.
To be fair, we found out a lot of shit. We learned.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shit we learned.
100%. But like at the beginning of just being curious, I'm being like, let's just see. You start cutting off fingers. Like, let's see how long this guy survives for. You know? And if you're that poor soul, I feel bad for you. So, strange. And some of them, you know, they had these petitions. They had cowhide. The cowhide, stiff with blood, hung against the walls. And there was a stepladder on which this fiend, that's how she phrased it, because it's from this article, stood while flogging her victims in order to lay the flashes. I say thrashes, but the flashes with more effect. She's on a little stool and she's just like going at it.
She's having a good time. She likes her life. She's having fun.
So citizens of all classes and colors in New Orleans were outraged in the wake of this awful discovery at 1140 Royal Street. And according to this woman that wrote the article, the rage of the crowd, especially of the French Creoles, was excessive. I gotta look up all this shit. What the fuck is a Creole? A Creole is
This is fun for us, Tom.
A Creole is a sauce. Yeah, it actually is spelled, looks like the same way. Let's see. Let's just be curious. We haven't recorded in a while, and the fans won't know, but I know. So let's just have a little fun with this. French Bay Creole. What is a French? Creole, whatever. Any person European or any French, or African descent born in the West Indies. Sure, it's just a fucking phrase for some people. A mob descended upon the house immediately after the grisly discovery, and in the following days, they literally gutted and wrenched the place. First, they tore up the fine furniture that was a source of pride to the mistress. Then they broke the dishes. This little kid's like there. He's like, "Look at this, mommy." He smashes the dish. I'm part of the mob.
Yes, you are.
Additionally, they ripped up pieces of fucking furniture and like art pieces and stuff like that, probably that were worth a lot. Mm-hmm. Additionally, they disemboweled her precious feather beds. That's a nice way of saying it. So they just like gutted the fucking bed, because back then I feel like most people, if you're poor, you're sleeping on like hay stuffed into a sheet. So people with feather beds were like rich, because it was probably made from like real feathers, not some fake synthetic shit. You know, real bird feathers. You know, slave for picking those feathers, and threw the feathers on the street. How many
feathers it would take?
I know. Yep.
Like, how many birds do you think that'd be?
Thousands.
Like for one pillow of real bird feathers.
What bird are we thinking of though?
Like, but any bird, like, okay, so like swans,
Ostrich.
obviously that's quicker. Ostrich, I guess, yeah, that's quicker. That's even quicker. Swan was the biggest bird I could think of at the time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I guess, yeah. Unless it's
but like, I'm thinking like pigeons. Yeah. Like they got.
What about a thunderbird?
What the fuck's a thunderbird?
You know what a thunderbird is? We'll do an episode about that for everybody.
It's
an indigenous massive bird that supposedly existed.
A thunderbird.
The indigenous believed in it. It was a massive fucking huge bird.
It's called a pterodactyl.
No, they didn't exist.
Oh, those ones aren't real?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You know. You were there. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know.
I remember. I forgot, Tom. You are a reptilian. That's why you're so with
pterodactyls. If they existed, they probably had feathers, right? So you could pick those.
You'd think so, yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be like that would make like 9 pillows.
Absolutely nothing escaped their rage. When they finished, little remained but the walls. So a narrow escape. Sensing the trouble was to come, the evil woman left her daughters behind and sought to escape. And according to this lady that wrote the article, later that day, Delphine coachman quickly shuffled her into a carriage.
Okay.
Get in here. We're going. He drove to the river where she took her schooner to...
her schooner? You know what a schooner is?
A little boat.
Yeah. But you know, you're Canadian. You should know what a schooner is.
It's a sailboat.
No, but Canadian version of a schooner.
I don't know.
It's
a beer.
It's a beer size. Well, it's a beer out east for sure, but it's a beer size. So a 32-ounce pint is called a schooner here. Nice. For anybody that's outside of Canada.
Have you ever seen?
There's my fun fact.
Have you ever seen Mallrats? I was trying to think of that movie.
Yep.
And he's like trying to see the sailboat.
Yeah.
He's like, look, a schooner. And he's like, you dumb fuck, it's a sailboat. And he's like, that is a sailboat. I fucking love that movie. no, and he freaks out when the kid fucking spoils it for him. That's a great movie. So she fled. She took her schooner to Mobile, Alabama, where she could join all the other inbred fucking aristocrats.
I was like, don't get me started on Arkansas again.
Alabama is just as bad.
No, Alabama's better.
So because people loved the
Me
Goaler
doing that.
episode, the Goaler episode so much, we will eventually be getting into the blue Fegate Flint. No, that's
Whoa. Yeah, watch your fucking tone there, bud.
There's the Whitakers, but there's also like this Fugate family, and they were like blue because how much inbred is. There's some bizarre cases.
They're blue people.
Yeah, well, their skin tone look blue. I'm pretty sure. We'll look this up and we'll figure it out. But like because people love us talking about inbred families so much, there's gonna be more. There's definitely gonna be more.
Oh fuck! Go. Let me take a trip. Hey, I'm gonna go.
Interview inbred families.
I'm gonna go down a week in New Brunswick and just start talking to random people, and I guarantee you, I'll have 9 interviews for you.
Okay, sweet.
I'll be like, I'm very curious about this, and it's not about
who's your cousin.
I'll trick them though. I'll be like, yo, actually, like I'll find out about their past because everyone talks shit. So I'll find out about them, find out the person, be like, oh, actually, you wanna. This is how easy it would be, dude. It's unreal. I bet you I could go down there. I bet you I could find out somebody's married to somebody's cousin and then walk up to them and be like, hey, I know you don't know me. There's been a lot of talk around town and you've actually been selected for a very hush-hush news article. This is going to get published in about a year or two, but there's some immaculate things that you did. I know you don't quite understand what they are yet, but just do it. Can I have 40 minutes of your time with you and your wife? And let's chat about it. I'll give you like $40 for your time. $40. You made $40 for 40 minutes. Yeah. You just made $10 every 10 minutes. You made $1 a minute. They'll be like, okay.
Yeah.
You're so wise.
What do you my first question. What did you do to have such intelligent children?
Billy is a nuisance.
I am a fucking nuisance.
All right. So
I will get sued so fucking hard by that lawyer that doesn't remember my name.
So supposed to be she fled that night. Supposed to be now sulking about in some French province under a false name. However, someone identified her in France and told her that she needed to leave. Someone's like, just out in the street, be like, hey, I know who the fuck you are. You need to leave. And she's like,
I done that saved you once.
Walked the opposite direction. Delphine reportedly died there on December 7, 1849. Subsequently, the caretakers of her remains quietly returned to New Orleans and placed her body in the St. Louis Cemetery. Her two
right
daughters,
by the windmills.
Her 2 daughters had to climb out of the window to escape the angry citizens. Reportedly, they were living in poverty outside the city. So she fucked off and left her kids. She had other kids. She had 6 kids altogether. God knows where the fuck they are. But the 2 daughters she kind of liked. Because I'm sure she had kids with 3 different husbands. So there would be the ones that you like. Be like, well, these ones are pretty. I like these ones. You can take the others. But there's so many different stories about her, and her one husband definitely did die, but but the other 2, and the one that got caught with her, where did he go?
Well, she killed him.
I don't know. It's fucking strange.
They gone.
So after the Madame LaLaurie's mansion caught fire, and the people of New Orleans rushed to save the slaves who were trapped inside, they found some truly disturbing experiments locked in the attic of the house. According to Katharina. What a name. Look at this name.
It's a fuck of a name.
Katharina Smiths.
You gotta have some normalcy there. You gotta add Smith.
Journey into Darkness, Ghosts and Vampires of New Orleans. A victim of the 1834 fire, who obviously had her arms amputated and her skin peeled off in a circular pattern, was made to look like a human caterpillar.
What the fuck?
That's not fucked up. If that's true.
I'm trying to think of what that would look like. You got a picture?
I don't have a picture.
Why?
Imagine
where's your picture?
having your skin peeled off and while you're alive.
But wait.
Yeah, no, but a human caterpillar. I'm trying to see, like, I get what the human caterpillar like movie is when everyone's like mouths are like sewed to other people's asses, but like,
I know it's funny. Especially because I'm a horror fan. I've never watched any of the human centipede movies.
It's centipede. Sorry, that's what it is.
Maybe I'll talk to Aaron. We'll do it for a class horror cast commentary, and people can watch me.
You've never watched that?
No,
Fuck,
surprisingly.
even I've watched that, dude. It's disgusting. Yo, I love actually.
Billy's got it like secretly in this folder of his like spank bank.
My spank bank. Fucking South Park's take on that was fucking hilarious. You ever watch that episode?
No.
There's like a Chinese or a Japanese guy at the front. He's like, I will not eat. I will not do this to you. And then they put like his favorite dish in front of him. He's like, I am so sorry. He's like, it's so good. It's just shooting into the people back.
You're a very sick man. You know
It was gross. It was so gross.
So that's fucked up.
That's an interesting idea though. Like, fuck, dude. Like that really ties into what I was saying about earlier this episode, where at what point does no authority mean anything?
Yeah.
And that's the world you start living in when you're allowed to do whatever you want.
I think we're already living in that world.
There is nobody that's coming into my house and going, "Yo, bro, I know you don't want to, but
I'm gonna stick this cucumber up your ass."
Yeah, I'm really curious, and I'm stronger than you. And yeah, you try to even grab that gun, I'll blow your
fight like a man.
I'll blow your fucking head off. So come here and break your fucking arm. There's 9 fucking MMA fighters with me that have all paid off to beat the fuck out of you. You're not winning. You're coming with me.
What the fuck?
Sorry.
Billy's a weird guy, eh?
It's not. It's fucking true, man. That's the life you live in when you go totally the other way.
All right. Well, I'm all about anarchy now.
Until it becomes real.
We already have anarchy. No, I believe I'm like more or less libertarian, but not even that. But like the whole idea of like, as long as you fuck off, everyone lives in their own freedom.
But people don't think that way.
The world would be better if people did. Okay,
it would, but they don't.
The only reason we have crazy people is because this world breeds crazy people, because crazy people run the world. Imagine
that is a very okay. That I've never really like stood a hard stance against you, but that's a very false statement.
If everybody had what they needed in life, they had a caring, loving family, they had good food on the table, they lived in a nice house and got promised a property and place to live and to raise a family.
Shit, man. Does that get rid of schizophrenia, you think?
That is probably caused by the reptilian overlords.
Oh, okay.
Because of the stuff they put in our bodies.
So it's the reptilians' fault.
Body bag material.
Carry on.
I am kidding.
Carry on your story.
I just want to say that I have faith in humanity. That we are good, inherently good, and that there's evil people ruling over and controlling us.
You're right, but it's just a scary difference when you realize how many people. Like, dude, I don't know. I'm a good fucking person.
Yeah.
I know I'm a good fucking person.
But you would kill somebody.
That being said, if tomorrow we woke up and there was no government,
yeah,
I don't know what the fuck I'd do. I really don't. I really fucking don't. Like, I'd like to think that I'm just going to go, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be a leader and I'm going to fucking be a good person. But you know what? Someone gets into an altercation and tells my fucking wife to fuck off. Like, I might beat them to fucking death.
Thoughts. Let's go there.
Like, there's a line there where it's like, people are nuts. We are inherently violent.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is subsided by the fact of we might get put in jail for the rest of our lives if we do that.
And they're going to watch babies die and love it.
And fuck the frogs. Or turn the frogs gay.
Just remember that, okay? So there, in the book, they also describe a woman who had her limbs broken and reset in a way to make her look like a crab.
Oh, that means they broke them backwards.
Isn't that fucked up?
They broke her elbows
if this
backwards.
is true, people think this is speculation.
And they broke her knees backwards.
Folklore. That fucked up.
They broke the limbs the other way and then like sealed them.
Scary.
So
it's like
that's
the
how
Exorcist
that's how you
coming
walk.
Down the stairs.
Yeah.
Scary.
Oh my fucking God, that's gross.
Yeah, and like I said, these are supposedly, it's speculation. And it
I love how the
just
one
folklore.
photo is just clearly just that one. It's just like, here's me golfing, and then it's like, we're hungry.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. The dichotomy between the two people, right? But,
Oh, we got a ghost one. What's the ghost photo?
Isn't that fun? It's her, and then her slave, and then her dog. Maybe the black chick that she pushed out the window, but she don't look so black as a ghost. Very strange, Well, they made a crab person, so that's fucked up. It's hard to know whether LaLaurie's escalated her gross treatment during the time she held slaves, but one of the sickest forms LaLaurie committed was allegedly chaining up a woman, cutting her stomach open, and then wrapping her intestines around the wrist. Wrapping their intestines around the wrist.
Okay.
I don't know. That's fucking weird. Why would you do that? It's strange. That's all it's saying. So you cut open a woman, and then she's like maybe dancing around with her guts.
Okay.
And she's like wrapping around her wrist, and maybe she hangs them by the guts to see how much they could stretch. Because if you were that sadistic, right, and they were breaking, like they know that people's bones were like stretched out, and they were like torture chamber style, like pulled out of the sockets and stretched their limbs and stuff like that. If you were someone who is sick and sadistic, like, think of any serial killer that does these obscure things, like Ted Bundy he shoved like a hair, like one of those old school hairspray containers, they spray your hair. They're like the big old school one. He R-worded a chick with it. He just like fucking plunged it in there and stuff like that. Like, some insertion porn style shit.
What the fuck are you talking about right now?
What serial killers do to get off because they're sadistic, right?
Sorry, I missed that part. I'm like, why are we? What?
Because you
the
would
fuck?
test. You're like, what? Like, how sick could it get?
Yeah.
Right? So you'd be like doing all these fucked up things to like, and the more it's like watching porn, right? That like a lot of not me personally, because I made a joke to a buddy where I was like, give me good 80s porn with like fucking a doggy style.
That wasn't a buddy. That was live on the podcast
Was
with
it?
me. that was to everybody.
I said that. I did say it to Aaron that you met at the bachelor party. Where I was like, yeah, give me simple guy, doggy style, some 80s porn, whatever. I'm simple, right? And Aaron was like, oh, you don't like someone shitting on your chest and slapping you in the face or something? And I was like, no, don't need that. Because the more you end up getting accustomed to something,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Then you want more and more, and then it becomes worse and worse. So imagine what like someone like this that had the opportunity to like the first person, she kind of likes it. She cuts the first slave on the chest or whips them or something like that, right? I was like, I kind of like that. And it's like you keep going along with those behaviors,
yeah,
sadistic patterns in your head, because you're like, the more thrilling it is, the more you keep doing it.
Yeah, 100%.
Like thrill junkies,
Mm-hmm.
You know a lot about that, eh, Billy?
I like a good thrill from time to time.
One of the most brutal forms of torture that LaLaurie did on her slaves indicates that she possibly didn't act alone. So people think her husband had something to do with it. After breaking into the madame's attic to save the slaves, rescuers found one woman with animal waste confined in her mouth, as someone had sewn her lips shut with dog shit or some sort of animal shit in her mouth. Like some horrible,
well,
they
swallowed it because they had to. There's no way they just sat there with that in their mouth. They swallowed it and got it over with. There's no way that just sat in their mouth. They were not that stubborn. There's no fucking way.
She sewed it shut, and there was so much that she choked on it and died with it in her mouth still.
Oh, fucking.
Isn't that fucked? What a way to go. If that is like a true thing that happened, man, this lady, she seemed like a lot of fun, eh?
Yep, that's a word. That's a word, and that's a sentence.
Aside from one of the most grotesque torments imaginable, it is also something that would be hard to do on one's own. In order to do this, presumably someone had to hold the person down, and you would need at least one person to handle the poo-poo, and then maybe a third to sew. LaLaurie gets credit for being the boogie woman of New Orleans, but some theorists speculate that she had accomplices, and I'm sure she did, because it's like the whole thing of like, in all these movies that are drip feeding us and showing us some real shit, but like you have like these rich people that like hunt people. Like the movie The Hunt, and there's the other one we just rewatched, Ready or Not. With the chick that kind of looks like Margot Robbie, but she's not Margot Robbie. She's in the new Scream movie. I like her. She's not Margot Robbie, but she's like a blonde lady that is very attractive, that kind of looks the same.
Okay.
It's a good movie because she gets married in this family, and they play this card game, and they're like a rich, wealthy family. And then if you get a certain card, they have to like hunt down the wife. Everyone usually, but it has never happened for generations and all this stuff. And
okay.
yeah, so they just like they're rich people playing these obscure games, and then they believe that if they don't go along with it, they'll be cursed and stuff. So all these superstitions and folklore that like generations of families would do, it's the same idea of like you bring people into it, but like, look, I've an
You got to keep life interesting when you're that rich.
Yeah, they've already done the most sadistic things, and once you go that far, where you've already done, you've had your plain old sex, and you've done BDSM. You need to step up. You need to get your game up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
So many of low.
Wait, I want to know. I gotta go have a long talk with Chelsea and see what's going on here.
I know. Many of LaLaurie's slaves were horrifically mangled with the bones that have been broken many times and then reset. So it definitely seemed like the husband,
That's
because
fucking
he was the
so
doctor.
rough. Yeah, he's like, I'll fix it, and we're good to go for now.
I'll see if this works.
Yeah.
Crazy. Another woman had her bones twisted and broken in order to fit her inside a tiny metal cage meant for dogs. That's fucked. Many skulls were found with holes drilled into them. Jeffrey Dahmer took a point from this chick. and one.
Where would he have learned it though?
I don't even know. He
At
must
that
have
time.
read. It's like I'm saying in the 80s, he's like, I want to make a zombie. How can you make a zombie? Oh, lobotomies. Because eventually I would love to cover lobotomies with you because the history of it's fucked. And there's this thing called temperament. It's interesting, but there was a psychedelic researcher, someone that's researched psychedelics for a long time on Joe Rogan's podcast. I wish I could remember her name.
I'm assuming that's what a psychedelic researcher is.
But listen, she studied.
Linda.
Listen, guy, listen, okay? And there's this thing, I can't remember what it's called. Someone will probably be like, it's this. But you actually put a tiny little hole in your skull. And it's not a lobotomy.
Yeah, no,
it's something
I know
else.
what
It's
you're
supposed to be
fucking
good for you.
I know
It's
what you're fucking
weird.
talking about.
I can't remember what it's called. We'll end up talking about when we do talk about lobotomies.
My brain's not sharp anymore, man. I don't remember things like that.
I do think it's because you drank a lot last night.
It might be.
It might be.
It might be a possibility.
So, this is crazy. So, in one case, a slave was still living with a maggot-filled hole in her head. So, Jeffrey Dahmer must have read, still not stuff like this, but even like lobotomy stuff, and knew that you could make someone more docile by drilling a hole in their head, right?
Yeah, docile, dead. Same thing, right?
This bitch was pulling a Dahmer before he existed, Even more horrifying, it was said that one man was still found with a hole drilled into his head and a stick protruding out of it that was used to stir his brain. Is that fucked up, dude?
Why?
Because they're sick and sadistic and they want to see what happens.
I don't understand. Like, what happens. You gotta know what happens.
Yeah,
that one seems common sense. He's just dead.
Yeah.
Like what can happen? You stir your brain backwards and then just leave it, and then it just goes in. And
how long could you do it for?
He's a different person.
Because Jeffrey Dahmer was drilling holes in people's heads that were still alive. So then it's like, all right, he used to pour Bacardi or he did acid or water, and just to see what would happen. So they're just like, let's just see, and they stick a stick in there and like move it around and. That's fucked up, though. But it's just very strange. We don't even know if this is real. But nothing is dehumanizing as a person quite like chaining them to the physical reputation of their station in life. And that's exactly what LaLaurie did to a 7-year-old woman who cooked all of her meals.
Chaining them to the oven or whatever.
This is what you do all day long, you motherfucker. Either because she couldn't trust the woman to not escape, or because she derived a satisfaction from exacting control. LaLaurie literally chained this woman to her workstation, and it's just the same way. You think this woman's sadistic, right? I view the people in power that run our countries just as sick. And that's my opinion.
It's fair.
Is I think they
It's
do
fair.
shit behind
Well,
closed doors that we couldn't even imagine.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Especially
Well,
with-
nothing wrong with. I meant to say, with nothing wrong with you thinking that.
Yeah.
That's what I
once
meant.
you
I
get
needed
rich,
to
you get
clarify
bored.
that. Yeah, 100%.
Ironically, this
Fair.
would be LaLaurie's undoing. Rather than live out the rest of her life chained to an oven, the emaciated cook set fire to LaLaurie's mansion, calling attention to the Madame's brutal treatment of her slaves before the entire city of New Orleans. If her beatings, whippings, and general nastiness weren't enough to keep her slaves in line, Madame LaLaurie would send her slaves to the attic, which, as many of her slaves were their final resting place. You can kind of see that in American Horror Story, and obviously they were really going off the folklore and stuff. What is worse is LaLaurie never removed the bodies from the attic. By the end of her tenure in New Orleans, she contained her captives next to rotting corpses. So as
Lovely.
she may have not even got caught. To be honest, if she would just got rid of the body, she was rich enough to be able to accomplish that. Maybe as she's like flicking her bean when she goes up there, it's like getting her off, and she's like just pulling up her dress and be like, "Yeah, you lay there next to that dead body."
Yeah, people are weird.
Yeah, it's fucked
People
up.
are
Babe.
gross.
LaLaurie was so frightening that many of her slaves chose to end their lives rather than deal with her punishments directly. One story. We already told that story of the 12-year-old that supposedly jumped off the roof.
Yeah.
This one says she was buried in a well.
Okay, so they
And,
just started changing
The
stories.
discovery of her remains was contributed to the downfall of LaLaurie's life. So they obviously chained her. It's kind of crazy because she might have been a shining public figure, you know what I mean, an image for locals. She was confirmed as like a charming and hospitable, but she purchased shackles of all shapes and sizes for her slaves. She locked some in iron collars, as we said, with inward spikes, so that's fucked. So you couldn't move anything. You can so these collars worked is when you take a breath, the spikes drive deeper into your neck. You can try to hold your breath until you pass, but regardless, the collar will eventually end you.
Well, yeah, because it's in there. You're
That
gonna
fucks.
die.
Yeah, but like the more you breathe, the more the pain is like it's going into your neck. Man, the torture devices that they create, and that's gonna be we'll have to do it next year. But something I have a book called.
I'm trying to like hold my neck and like think
I
of
know,
like how
me
much
too.
it
I was, like,
inwards when
pushing.
you breathe.
Kind of
If you learned how to like keep your breath like so still,
shallow. I have a book in one of my collections. It's funny. I have a book about Donald Trump down there. I didn't get it. Someone gave it to me.
oh my god, I forgot to talk to you about that. With his impeachment thing?
Yeah, his arrest. Yeah, they're targeting.
Yeah, sorry, he's literally in jail. Anyways, well, he surrendered himself. He knew he was
not
fucking guilty.
actually in jail yet. No, he
got his mug shot.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there was live betting on that.
Really?
It was my fucking boss sent me the link and the amount of money I wanted to put on this I was like, no, because it's up to chance. Do not bet money on this. Every single thing I was like, he's going to do that. 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 I would have fucking nailed all of them.
Yeah.
They were betting on his tan color in his mugshot and it was like ruby red or like whatever the fucking tan color was.
What's wrong with people?
It was what would he be smirking, straight face, or frowning? I was like, he's gonna be frowning 100% because he's pissed. And he's like, yeah, that frown. I've never seen someone's mouth do that big of an upside down smile before.
They are, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's. I'm not right or left. I don't trust either side. I think it's all orchestrated in this way, and maybe there's other nefarious people that don't like the left and the far left communist tactic of things, and they're more nationalists or whatever, right? But they're 100% targeting him because they think he's a threat to the establishment. Because Joe Biden would be in jail by now, Hillary Clinton would, Obama would, all these people that have done 10 times worse things and provable things than Trump will ever do. Like the Bidens have already been caught. They're the crime family. They've been caught doing horrific things in Ukraine and laundering money and through Hunter and all this stuff that's going on. They let his son off like easy peasy street. Hillary Clinton is responsible for war crimes and probably way worse things to do with adrenochrome. I'm not going to get into that because that's just kind of YouTube. But this idea that like they're targeting him so hard, and even if people listen to this years down the road, this is the first time in history that they've ever done that, where they've like arrested someone who was a sitting president.
Yeah, he's a fucking.
And to me, in my point of view, being a conspiracy theorist or a truth seeker, as it should be more termed, is that he's obviously a threat to like their structure of the establishment. You know, and even he's posting stuff about like, because they're coming back with another pandemic shit, right? And he's posting about do not comply. He's saying what everyone else is thinking.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know what to think of him. A lot of people love him.
He's done some horrible shit, to be fair.
I think the horrible things that people think that he's done is most likely propaganda. He could be a bad guy.
He's admitted to a lot of it.
But like what though? The Russian scandal was a lie. The insurrection shit is like semi-lie. There's political prisoners. Insurrection. What happened?
Why do you keep saying words I don't understand?
In January 6th, when the people rioted and got let into the government's building, Capitol building.
That was like his basis of his arrest for the most part, and he's admitted. He's like,
they let him in. They let them in. There's footage that Tucker Carlson showed. People are like, it's edited. It's like, no, there's actual footage of, so when it first came out, of cops just waving them in. So you can't like say that shit. It's just like, you know what I mean?
That's what he's getting arrested for because he was still in power.
No, we should fucking arrest
them all
people
to
and shut
them
down
in.
their bank accounts, and that will make everything better because then people will police themselves and they'll be afraid to go against the silent dictatorship that we currently live in. Because you think about that. I was going to do a video about this. We live in a dictatorship. People don't want to see it, but we are in a dictatorship. If you are under threat for protesting against the disgusting policies and horrible things that your government is doing, and they will shut your bank account for peacefully protesting, one of the most peaceful protests in all of history, we're in a dictatorship.
It's a bit of a... Okay, like, come on, Tom. You got a lovely point, but you gotta be fair. You have to.
If I go to China and I fucking make fun of Xi Jinping, I will get arrested.
Listen, you have to be fucking fair about what the difference was. People, like, I totally support that whole fucking movement.
Yeah.
That whole movement was right.
Yeah.
You cannot sit there and honestly tell me that was completely peaceful. What the consequences of what they did.
It was completely peaceful. There was record and show. I know people that were there, dude.
I understand.
Nobody hurt anybody. The cops beat people.
I understand, but you're not thinking. You're not thinking of just violence. Peaceful doesn't mean just violence.
They stopped infrastructure from running. Give me a fucking break.
They made people not make rent. They made people not make to their fucking jobs.
Yeah, and there was people that lost their jobs because of the government policies, and the government didn't do this in the first place.
I understand.
It's going to get worse, so be prepared.
That's what I mean. Like, look, you want to have a solid point, you want to have a solid argument, be fair of what actually just happened.
But they've done this.
You fucking ruined 1,000 people's lives.
Yeah.
But
that's a lie. There's people under lockdown, dude.
Listen, you're right.
No.
The government did way worse. But they still
What do you
did
do?
That.
The people that block the Coots border or whatever are still in jail. They're political prisoners. We have political prisoners in Canada for standing up for their fundamental rights and freedom.
For the what jail, sorry?
The Coots blockade, when they block the border on purpose. And stuff like that because they needed to make a point. The whole idea, and then listen to this.
You're
fucking
right.
people, the government workers, when they weren't getting paid enough, protested and blocked infrastructure a year later, whatever, 2 years later, and they did nothing about it.
I get that, and I get that point, and you are right.
It's gonna get worse.
But just don't say that it was flawlessly executed and nobody got hurt.
There was a bunch of angry people. They were upset
a lot of people got hurt from it.
Hey, everybody out there, if you live in Ottawa and you didn't like that they protested there and you couldn't pay your rent, how does it feel that your fucking money has been laundered through Ukraine and that you make absolutely no money because it's taxed and on top of taxed?
You're fucking right. No, I'm not saying you're not right. I'm saying just
Something's gotta
Give
dude.
a fair fucking opinion, and then it'll bring a lot more validation to
So
your
do you
point.
want people to just lay down?
No. I'm not disagreeing with that whole movement at all. I'm just saying don't just say it went flawlessly executed and
can't
nobody
never
got
be.
hurt.
No revolution or
But-
protest can.
Exactly, but just don't say that. That's all I'm saying.
I didn't
That's
say
a fair trade.
I said that it's a silent dictatorship, which we do live in. But you know, if those couple that stopped the mandates, we started a worldwide movement at the end of the day, and I do think it's we got in this little political.
Was it us? No, state stopped that way before we did.
We
were
doing
one of the
it
last
because they're
ones
always
to
been
stop.
because they have guns. But we started a worldwide movement of people seeing that,
I
and I think that we could have done more. But as soon
we
as
could have
you
done
bring in the UN troops that weren't speaking English and didn't have any name tag or badge, that to me was like, wow, we do live in a dictatorship. You can't do that. If you were in a free country, that would have never happened.
Yeah.
It would never happen.
That's fair.
Bank accounts being frozen would have never happened. People are being debanked now because their opinions. Big, high, like people that are influential on media. They're prosecuting Jordan Peterson for like having an opinion on politics.
That's fucking insane.
Crazy.
That somebody like that's
He
getting prosecuted.
retweeted a fucking thing that Pierre Poilievre said, and now he's being prosecuted. Like, it's crazy. We live in a crazy world, and everyone get ready, have smiles on your face because it's gonna get worse, and all you need to do is say no. Very simple thing. If you complied last time, don't comply anytime. Anytime the government tells you to do something out of that you think it's gonna benefit you, it's not. Just trust me on this one. They're as sick
it won't
as
work.
this lady.
What's lady?
This lady. So
Which one?
We know that she like destroyed like the caught fire. She maybe ran away.
Oh, that lady.
Supposedly, there's many people believed that LaLaurie first escaped, as we said, to Alabama, and then going to Paris, where she lived the rest of her life in freedom. Okay. It's almost like kind of like
Just like,
Carla
I
Homolka.
did it. I'm out.
You know, like Carla
Yeah,
Mocha.
yeah.
People recognize her, but she was able to like live and have kids. I think with another guy. As far as I can't remember. I feel like for an episode, we'll have to do a revisit, like a fun episode. I'd like to get into because I'm kind of bringing this to a close, is like serial killers and the women who love them. Because women love serial killers. And there was a lot of people that like would show up at like Richard Ramirez's place and all that shit. And they were just like the women in black. So if you think about like people like this are able to get away with it and there was no consequence, what a weird world we live in. There's like no karma here. You're just able to like get away with all the stuff and then live out your life. So there was a supposedly, so LaLaurie was far from the only owner to harm the slaves. Louisiana in particular was notorious for the cruel treatment of their slaves by their owners. These acts of brutality were intended to terrorize slaves and squash any signs of rebellion. Okay. According to historian Daniel Ramsmussen, they would tie hands to 4 stakes and then whip you with a cat o' nine tails, and they would leave you bleeding and barely able to move. They had iron masks to put around your head so you couldn't eat, and they had collars of spike facing towards the slaves so they couldn't sleep without getting the spike stuck in their neck.
It's fucking insane. Back in the 1800s, they had fucking Pokemon.
That's fucked. No, cat of nine tails. That's fucking so dumb. It's weird they named Pokemon after like a literal sex torture object.
Yeah.
A BDSM tool, but back then. It's weird that they used to whip slaves with this, and now people like to have a woman whip them with it while they're chained up for sexual gratification, and they get dominated. You know, like those women, the dominatrix, and they'll step on your balls and shit, and for some reason men like that shit. I would have loved...
I will kick your chest through your fucking back.
I would have loved to do an episode...
Step on my fucking balls.
When Craigslist was as crazy as it was.
Dude, Craigslist was fucking hilarious. Oh my God.
Was that you? I feel like I was with someone, we were scrolling through a
Dude, it was fucking insane. That was with me.
Because we saw that one ad where it was like, you can, I will crush your balls for whatever money.
It was just whatever. And like, yeah, we went through a good rabbit hole. That's a fun episode. We should do that next. Craigslist.
Oh, there's a guy called the Craigslist Killer. We could add that to that episode. Because he went to Craigslist and he found people to kill. But I don't even know if you'd be able to... I guess you could do an episode. Maybe I'll bring up a little article when we do our big deep dive into the dark web. And I'll bring up like a little article about Craigslist and the shit that was on there. Because it's fucked up. So obviously there was crazy punishments in Louisiana during this period. They believed that without the threat of tremendous violence, slaves would stay slaves. In particular, the Haitian Revolution, as well as a major slave revolt in New Orleans in 1811, made slave owners fear their captives might rise up and get revenge. New Orleans slave owners reacted with violent suppression. So study history. Look where we are now. Make people police themselves. That's why I said you scare people enough to be like, oh, I can't do that. I can't say that because I'll be labeled a racist or whatever they want to label you, some ism. Many historians today think LaLaurie may have been a scapegoat to shift guilt and blame from many of the other slave owners of that period who were almost as bad. Very weird, eh? So at some point prior to the fire, word started getting out of LaLaurie's treatment of her slaves, and when a judge, Jean Francis, whatever, fuck this judge, keeping one of her women in iron neck shackle, and this woman said something to Madame's husband in a report to the courts when she confronted Madame LaLaurie's husband about the state of their slaves. He responded, "Some people had better stay at home rather than come to others' houses and dictate laws and meddle with other people's businesses." Or business. Other people's business. Fucking bitch, get the fuck out of here.
Fuck my business.
I was right. Notorious eccentric actor Nicolas Cage
here he is.
was one of the many residents of LaLaurie's mansion. Cage bought the home in 2007 and moved in, hoping the home's spooky vibe would provide some inspiration as he was writing a dark novel.
I love how you just said you were right, but you wrote this episode and you knew you wrote that.
You know what happens on the show? This is an honest thing. I write episodes out way prior to when we record them because I'm like sitting and I get stoned and I start writing out ideas of what I want to cover. So I get them all prepped and ready. And then I just watch a bunch of videos about it, and then I don't read over what I wrote. So it doesn't really and that's a true, honest statement. I will probably get better at reading over this stuff, but only if you give me $5 a day to keep this podcast going. Just sell my soul. Help me. Help you.
We need Sarah McLachlan on this fucking podcast.
That's sad music. However, this novel was many of his failed projects. Or the failed projects. I'm not saying Nicolas Cage had failed projects, but failed projects cursed by the LaLaurie's home. Cage eventually abandoned the project and the property. After LaLaurie fled her home, a mob ransacked the premise. We already knew that. So eventually, the house would turn into a girls' high school during the Reconstruction. Then, Conservatory of Music and Fashionable Dancing School. Strange. However, local news accounts alleged that the school's male teacher made inappropriate advances on the students, and the school was subsequently closed. So you got a fucking perv moving in. Later, the home became the residence of Jules Vinge, an eccentric, I might be pronouncing their name wrong, so I apologize, Vinny, an eccentric, wealthy recluse who lived in the house recently until he passed away in 1892. Authorities discovered his body on a tattered cot in the mansion, apparently living in filth. Nice. Investigators also uncovered his unique collection of antiques as well as other valuables that he stashed at the residency, bags of money. Nice. He died, had all this money stashed away, and then he just died and didn't get to do anything with it. One key I have, a little key point for everybody, right? All the money you make in the world, you're not taking that with you in the afterlife. I don't know why the Egyptians thought that, but it's not coming with you.
What if you do?
It's not coming with you.
You don't know. What if you do?
So, at last, the house was converted into a cheap apartment building. Residents complained of ghostly encounters, many violent and terrifying. One resident alleged that the ghost of a naked chained slave went after them and then vanished into thin air. Okay, that's fairly scary. What would be worse?
What's that?
A naked female chain slave or a naked male slave? Because I feel like if you...
What do you mean worse?
You see
They're both horrendous.
A ghost coming at you, but what would you see if you saw a big old fucking mandingo ding dong fucking just like slapping on legs? when it's chasing you. Would that turn you on?
I'm gonna probably honestly say from the depths of my soul, if a ghost anybody was chasing me, I'm probably not good. There's not one moment where I turn around and be like, wait a minute.
Let me see.
May turn around, do a little twirl.
Let me see.
All right. Okay. All right. You know what?
Yeah, I know.
What a lucky man I am.
It's like the ghost of Christmas Past, or which was like the chain guy, Marley's ghost, where it's like, it'd be fucking frightening.
Anything would be fucking frightening.
Running at you?
There's not one, like, I would never, there's not one moment in my brain, if somebody's running at me, when I turn around running away from a ghost, that I go, did you see the dick on that thing? Like,
you never know, man.
I would have just been petrified that I'm seeing something that I know is not there.
It's true. So others maintain an array of different accounts, including phantoms going after children and even animal sacrifices. I'm sure that it would be used as some sort of portal. I'm sure that people have used it as some sort of portal because all these dark places with this dark history and the residency of evil and atrocity would probably be used by some sort of Satanist or Luciferian, to use the energy of the house. Like there's all these ley lines and stuff like that of energy. We'll eventually do an episode about ley lines. All this obscure stuff will eventually be coming down the road.
Yeah, fucking A.
But you never know, right? So eventually residents had enough, and it was never easy to keep tenants in the house. And finally, after word spread of the strange going on there, the mansion was deserted once again. Several businesses moved in there. None lasted very long, I'm sure, because the karma of the house. Today, the house is once again an apartment building.
I knew it was going to be a fucking apartment. It had to have been. It had to have been. Like, look at that thing.
Yeah,
that's 100% storefront at the bottom, apartments at the top.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that is. There's a dive bar in the bottom, and those are apartments at the top. And people make lives up there.
You do it a good, you do the style of 50-minute cities, right? You do business up top, or no, living up top, and then business in the bottom, and then you're at the in the middle, you have all your groceries and stuff like that. And then you just don't have anywhere to go. You just live in your house, have all your everything you need, just in one building.
I've honestly, you know what? Honestly, I commend that.
Billy's going to move into the 50-minute cities when they're created. There'll be one in Maui pretty soon, in Lahaina.
No, I mean, I'm not saying from a residential standpoint. I'm saying from an owner standpoint.
Yeah.
If I owned a business.
Yeah, I know.
Fucking A, if it wasn't quite successful yet, you're damn right I'm living in that business. Yeah, I'm waiting until it's successful. I'm living in it. I'm watching my money. I'm fucking building up. Until it's to the point where I'm I can go buy a mansion now.
Yeah,
okay.
100%. Yeah, no, it makes sense. You're a barber. You have the barber shop in the
I got an apartment upstairs. That's where I live.
Yeah. Okay, and then several businesses moved in, didn't last very long. In other apartments during renovations, the owners apparently discovered even more bodies that had been hastily thrown into a mass grave beneath the house.
Oh, beneath! I was gonna say in the fucking walls.
Do you have one?
Yeah, sure I do.
It's time for.
I'm so happy.
Every time I have to do it.
Back the day.
You know what? I had some. Actually, oh my God, never mind. Fuck, that's a sick one.
Okay.
As of today,
okay,
this was 2.5 hours ago. The richest female on this planet is Francois Betancourt Myers. She is the heiress to the L'Oreal, the hair.
Oh, what?
Fortune. She has made significant contributions to cosmetic industry and is amazed with great wealth.
Poisoning women's faces, yes.
L'Oreal.
Yeah. The poisonous fucking makeup brand.
L'Oreal.
Okay.
Are you fucking kidding? That's the richest person on this, richest female on this planet right now.
It's because of makeup. Yeah, of course, because they make tons of money off of people kicking up their faces and poisoning themselves.
But think of every other industry. How the fuck Did
Women
that beat
spend a lot
everything?
on makeup.
That's fucking insane.
Is that crazy? And she's obviously the only one that owns that business. There is rich women out there, like fucking, Oprah's seedy ass and all these other people. But
I got really fun one. The one I was gonna do, and I didn't look up like the actual like minuscule facts of it. But so I go over to my buddy's house all the time, and he's got this book on the back of his toilet. Every time I take a shit at his house, it's just it's 101 fun facts. And every time I leave it, I run out and I'm like, I got something new. I was drunk when I read this, but this one's also super cool. Don't quote me on the exact specifics, but I got the basis down.
okay,
Do you know where the term "Bob's your uncle" comes from?
no,
So, it was a prince. His name was Robert Salisbury, the guy we get Salisbury steak from.
nice, okay,
And so that was Robert Salisbury. And then Robert's also Bob, right?
yeah.
Or is Robert Dick? Is it different?
Robert is Bob.
Robert's Bob. Yeah, that's what it is. So Robert
Bobby,
yeah.
Rob.
So Robert Salisbury was the prince or the highness or whatever. He was
Highness,
he was authority.
Yes,
You understand what I mean?
I do.
Anyways, so he had his sister had a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
And the kids would just fuck around, do whatever the fuck they want, and they'd get away scot-free.
Okay.
And the other kids were getting angry to the point where my dad's calling me, he thinks I'm done. The other kids were getting angry to the point where they'd be like, I wish I could do that. You only get away with it because Bob's your uncle.
Are you really?
That was like the actual minuscule facts in the middle of that. I'm missing a little bit because I was pissed drunk when I read it, but that was the basis of that.
The words didn't look like a bunch of fucking.
I read it and I understood it at first, but I didn't quite comprehend everything. But that was the basis thing: was the kid was getting away with murder, because Bob was his uncle.
Can everyone vouch that Billy's fun facts are getting a little weak?
That was cool.
That one's cool. The first one was a little weak.
I thought that was fucking cool. Laurier is the richest woman.
L'Oreal.
Are you fucking L'Oreal? Sorry, is the richest fucking woman on the planet.
It makes sense.
Are you kidding?
You know much? Look at fucking that stupid fucking Jenner chick.
Are you
Kylie Jenner? Or whatever. She makes so much money of makeup because women love the dollar.
Are you saying like the best paid female actress? I'd kind of believe a little bit more than that, or like the hairness to an oil field fortune would
Not
beat
a lot
that.
of women do have
the
that.
fucking hair product. One, are you fucked?
Is it is the L'Oreal does just hair? Oh, I was even thinking makeup.
It's hair.
Does L'Oreal not have makeup? What's that makeup brand I'm thinking of? You know what's crazy?
I don't even fucking know. I'm so out of tune.
Let's look it up very quickly.
I'm so out of tune.
I just want to say it is one.
She would yell at me right now.
Not a conspiracy theory at all. But a lot of like makeup, a lot of the makeup, the mainstream brands. If you like even understand what the ingredients are, it's like extremely bad for you and causes. Like,
L'Oreal
cancer.
does hair and makeup.
Yeah, I was gonna say
it does hair and makeup.
So the mainstream brands like them,
Thank you.
They have cancer-causing pathogens inside of all their makeup and their hair products. Like a lot of people don't pay attention. Like, well, I'm eating pretty healthy, but like
and body.
Your shampoo and your body soap, all that stuff goes into your skin, and it like actually like hurts your cells and all stuff. Like we have all like natural shampoo stuff. This is brand. I'll show you.
Do you use shampoo?
Yes, I do. You'd be surprised. It's called Native, and like it's.
I didn't realize bald people use shampoo.
I'm not bald.
I'm just joking. I knew that was going to trigger you. I was just joking.
I guarantee Billy will go bald before I fucking will. But like,
I knew that was gonna get you going.
Billy's gonna go fucking bald. I'm gonna put that out there now. We'll be 50 and I'll still have hair, but it'll be white. That's for sure.
Oh, that's fucking funny.
Your hair looks wild.
I knew you were gonna get so mad about that.
What happened to your fucking blondness in your hair? It's gone. Your hair looks so dark. Brown,
I'm dark
bro.
now, man.
It's fucking
dude. I don't
weird.
know. I was blonde for a while. I don't know
like
where I went.
lighter, like it's weird.
It's
man.
brown. I swear to God, I didn't dye it.
That's so strange, bro. You're like,
I'm starting to notice gray hairs on myself.
I have so much gray hair.
I'm getting gray.
Used to it. I can dye if I really need to, but man, who doesn't like some salt and pepper in this bitch, man? You gotta make it tasty.
That's fair.
You gotta season that.
All right, that was pretty cool.
All right, that was fun. So like, just remember, everybody, everything is fucking poisonous, and do your best to not poison your body, because you don't think about those things of like, oh, you're massaging your head with this soap that has fucking perfumes, or the fuck all that shit is called. All the many poisons, like aluminum in your fucking deodorant. Billy probably uses Axe deodorant or some shit. And he's just
Old Spice, bud.
Yeah, still the same thing.
Old Spice.
It has aluminum in it, so you have heavy metals going into a very like in your armpit, especially. That's why they do this, because they know this is like. Here's a fun fact: is because like a lot of stuff absorbs in places like your armpits, these orifices in your body, these like so. All those, like, most deodorant, mainstream deodorant, has aluminum and fumes or parfaits in them, and they're, like, horrible for you. They give you cancer and all this shit.
Okay.
I use all natural shit.
Oh, shit.
It's a little more expensive. But.
You know what? I want to end this, actually, on one quick thing. Because anyone who watched to this point, obviously, is fucking pretty invested and pretty involved.
Yeah.
There's one quick point where we were talking about don't get upset. Leave me be for a second. I promise you're going to like my point at the end.
Okay.
When we were talking about the trucker convoy, and Tom misspoke a little bit. But
I never misspoke.
Look, we're in a day and age where we're well aware, and the mass majority is well aware that this shit is not okay. If you ever want to have an argument point, if you ever want to have an argument, yeah, no shit. If you ever want to have an argument point with somebody, you can't be completely one-sided.
No,
I'm not coming at you. Give me a minute. If you ever want to win an argument and you want to get people to the point of going, wow, I understand, is you never fucking diminish their side.
Yeah, I agree.
So that is a real
I agree.
That is a real excuse. But the contrary to that, like that particular argument was, yeah, that trucker convoy fucked up a lot of people's lives. But what they were doing it for was for the fucking millions.
Yeah, I know.
And that outweighed that. But if you diminish something,
my freedom doesn't end where your fear begins.
But if you're diminish something to make your point stronger,
yeah,
your point's now weaker because people find that fucking
but
loop.
at the end of the day, I don't care if I win or lose the argument because I actually know the fundamental truth. It
doesn't matter. No.
And one last thing, let me guys say: if you give up your freedom for security, you deserve neither.
You see what I try to talk to for a long time. Okay. Anyways, that point though is once you start, our whole message and what you're trying to promote is wake up.
Yeah,
listen to this. The only way to do that is go, look, this is your side. Here's all your facts. And those are facts.
Yeah.
But this is why that outweighs that. And then people actually start making fucking rational decisions. They go, wow, that doesn't make sense.
I'm sorry I yell at people and call them sheep, but I've spent my whole life awake, and to see these people that are like now finally starting to get it, it gets a little frustrating. And I know other people agree with my frustration. And it's just a sad world we live in. I had a lot of fun doing this. Like I said, it's fucking strange, but for some reason, I'm trying not to be political on this show sometimes. I'm trying. I said this to Aaron too. We did a whole episode about strange vacations earlier at the end of the summer. Okay. All this like obscure like shit that people went missing. Horrible fucking stories of people going missing on like cruise ships especially. And I was like, everyone have fun on their vacation, but like we got something political at the end. And it's just like, because I just want people to be aware. The one thing I always tell people is to question everything and don't trust authority just because you're told to. There's a lot of people that have this obedience disorder where they're just like, well, somebody in power told me to do it. I guess I got it. And it's just like, it's not a good mentality to have. If you let someone rule over your life, it's not good. This is not good. I don't know why.
Yeah, we're done.
All right, we're done.
Have a good day.
Canceled.
Cheers.
All right, everybody love everybody. Billy is all. When Billy takes off his headphones, we know
we're done. We're done.